You're gonna get a Happy Meal. I'm gonna get a spicy sandwich, and you're gonna get a Happy Meal.
Child. Instead of boy, child.
Child.
Oh, speaking of, have you tried the God of War on PC? People like it, but
I have not. Although I'm like testing some GPUs, and I was gonna use that because I'm like, that's a big new game kind of on PC. Like, let's see how it runs on these 1080p graphics cards and stuff. So
do you got that? Oh, do you got the dumb AMD like? This video card is like half.
Yes, I do. I have that, and I have the. I don't know if I could say the other one. So yes, I do have the AMD one, and I'll be doing that soon. So
yeah, the AMD one. People are already talking about it.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah.
I think I know the other one you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Yeah. It's not too hard to put it together.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like. Okay. All right.
Let's see. Hello, chat.
Hello, chat. We're talking secrets.
We are.
You wanna know secrets?
We are. We're waiting for Mike. I'm putting the rundown together still, so it's fine. I'm
talking with this rich game journalist here. Guess free games.
Maybe I feel especially guilty because like I do have like a Steam press account and stuff, so it's like I am the shithead that he's talking about.
Oh man, I love how he gets super mad as soon as anything happens. It's so funny to me.
I'm like I'm like, guys, can we just like, okay. Like, yeah, I get it. It's not great to like have like, because you know it better than anyone else, but it's like, we need to just chill. People, this is what people don't like about games journalists, is that we're always so quick to like react like this.
And well, the thing is, in Argentina, we have a say that if you burn yourself with milk when you see a cow, you cry. So it's understandable, you know.
Let me break that one down. If you burn yourself with milk when you see, a cow, you cry. You can't. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get it. I think. I don't know if I get it.
It's like you overreact for something that happened before, and it makes sense, you know, a little bit.
That's fair. Yes,
but it's also like a little bit too much.
Yeah, it's a little bit too much. That's right. I think that also I totally got what people are like. This is
I understand every part of this conversation. Yes. I understand, but also it's funny because it's like we're so oppressed.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we don't ever want. I don't ever want to be like that. That's the thing. So yeah.
Also, it's funny to me because like, working in this industry sucks. I'm like, well, why don't you unionize? No, I don't like unions. Unions are bad. I'm like, I'm giving you a solution, dog. What else you want?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of editors have ended up unionizing, and they have seen improvements from that. Good. That's for sure. Yeah,
unions are good, people.
3 new Garfield games from Mike.
How do you say it in English? Together you bargain, maybe.
Yeah,
United you bargain.
Yeah, together. Piss shirt Ben bars is how you say it.
Yeah.
That's a little Jackie Chan joke from one of his movies with Owen Wilson.
Yeah. The old Western one.
Oh, yeah, Shanghai Nights. It was just a good Shanghai Noon. Shanghai Nights is the sequel. They're all Mike. Help me.
You don't even know what you're talking about, you idiot.
Mike, help me call this list.
What do you mean?
The rundown. Help me call the rundown.
Yeah. Mike, okay, I'm gonna ask you. You wanna try that game with us? You wanna try the Tom Clancy game? You wanna try Extraction? Okay, he's not even listening to me.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
It's a video game.
Extraction game. The Extraction game.
I don't.
Tom Clancy. Okay, see.
I mean, he's honest.
You can't stop being.
What if? What's his name? Honeyway. What's his name? Snackway.
Oh, Puddingway.
Puddingway. Okay. What if Puddingway was in it?
Oh, then yeah.
Yeah.
He's not. He's not. Was in.
He's not. So.
Well, I know that's why I'm not playing it. But if he was, look. You asked me the stupid theoretical. I'm just giving you an answer.
All right. Hang on. Chat. Listen, I've been listening to my stuff recently. I feel like I sound like I'm just a tiny bit hot. Like my mic is just a little bit blown out.
I saw you. You're very hot.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Make sure. Wait a second. Make sure my levels are good. Because I had to adjust something on my microphone.
People told me my voice changed since I got the Rona, but I don't think that's true.
Well, you sounded very sick last week. That's why your voice
you were
was
sick.
But now people say that it's different
you sound
from.
pretty normal again to me now.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
it's
See?
makeup gain. Test. Maybe
Sound pretty
threshold.
good. Sound all right for me.
Still don't know what you guys are talking about. You wanted me to call something?
Test.
Who are you gonna call? Well, that's a lot of news. Mikey's got to go through this.
Ghostbusters. A lot of it's repeated because I put together 2 lists.
I'm feeling immortal, Chad. Chad is like, how are you feeling? I'm feeling like I can like fucking go to the moon, back and forward. I'm great.
We don't really need to talk about them changing.
Love vaccines. Get your vaccines, people.
Get rid of whatever you want to get rid of.
Get your vaccines.
I'll be right back.
Like,
we're gonna get started in a second, everybody.
Yeah.
Now I want to get boosted. I had to wait like 15 days to get boosted after getting sick. So.
Sonic.
Hell yeah, let's fucking rob a bank. I'm joking. I am a weirdo that thinks that maybe robbing a bank shouldn't be that criminal, you know? If you don't hurt people and you do it like classy way, you should be okay. Like, you know how nobody gets mad at you if you steal from Walmart? It has to be the same. Oh, and Roblox, do they have bank? They should. Oh, what if Roblox has like actual banks where you had to steal the Roblox box from 12-year-olds?
Okay.
I mean, if there's nobody in the bank, who is getting hurt if you rob the bank? You know.
Is here. Let me bring up the cameras.
Yeah, I think I want to incriminate myself. Bank robber.
Oh. It's like oh, here. Let's see. Oh, okay. That's wild.
Mike Minotti. Mike Minotti.
Ooh.
Mike Minotti.
Oh.
Fixing it.
You need a. Yeah. I don't know why. I understand that you had to do it every time, but.
I mean, it's different because last week we had like 4 people, right? So
yeah, right.
I talked to.
You know what?
I talked to.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I talked about Arthur Geese. He said use Skype because it has NDI, and I'm like, yeah, maybe I might do that someday. I'll mess around with it.
You know what you need? You need to use what the Sean Bomb uses. It's like you gotta buy that super expensive license for
Actually, for the last Bombcast, it was in Discord.
Oh, it was in Discord. You're right.
Yeah,
I remember
it was.
being like,
wow.
Oh, there is in Discord.
Well then, fuck us, I guess.
Okay. Mike, talk.
Yes, I'm talking. I'm almost done with.
And I'm talking too, and I'm gonna. You know what? Let's add one more back to the makeup gain. 5 decibels to the makeup gain.
Look at this. We got media news here. We're not talking about Lord of the Rings show.
No, get rid of it. Delete it.
Nice try.
I was about to do that too. Yeah. Shenmue anime premieres on Crunchyroll on February 5th. Mike,
yes.
That I'm keeping.
All right, what a stupid show we do here.
You should watch the trailer live.
Okay, let's.
Oh, you need to order food.
Yes, I will do that first thing once we get on the other side. Once we start recording, let me stop this music.
I'm gonna be hungry by the time this is done. What music? I don't hear no music.
I didn't hear any music.
Yeah, you guys don't hear music. That's fine. You're not supposed to. It should be live on the thing.
That's my curse. I can never hear music.
No anime.
It cursed me when
There's
I was
music on the stream, though, right?
What?
There's music on the stream, I think.
I don't know.
I thought I had the stream on. I didn't hear it.
Okay,
yeah, there's music.
Not.
There is. I heard it.
All right, where am I playing that at?
What else?
That is Nintendo Tapes. You can find that on It's Van Aken's YouTube channel. Van Aken over at Game Informer. Him and Blessing Adeoye Jr. Did a bunch of remixes, and you can find them on It's Van Aken on his YouTube channel. Okay.
Man,
I'm stopping that.
Does remixes too. I don't like his talent.
I know it's very disgusting. I agree.
Yeah,
Not
he's
fair.
good
All I can
talent.
do
He's
is
too young.
He's younger
I can
and
just
better
do
in
a
every
fucking
way.
Toad voice.
Young, he's better looking. He's like everything.
He's, well, better
It's like,
looking than
what
me.
the
No. Like the
Okay.
copy
He's
of
pretty cute.
Dragon Quest 7. Nope. That's my
Okay.
happy mind. I still have my phone.
Okay.
Oh wait,
I'm
let
not
me
sure.
test this. See.
I forget about this calendar until I do a show with you. Then I see it behind me and it's disgusting.
Right.
But then like I don't remember until I record with you again. I'm the worst.
I'm ignoring you. What are you talking about? What are you complaining about?
Nothing. I'm complaining to
It's
myself.
just Mike, your t-shirt is in reverse.
Well, it always
That's
is.
not-
It
that's
says,
not his
just
fault.
one before I die. It's a picture of Cleveland. It's one of those Cleveland pity parties.
I might move this
is an
camera
older shirt.
over here pretty soon, and when I do, I can make Mike face the right direction.
That would be weird.
Yeah, it's gonna be real weird. Okay, I think I'm ready. Christian,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Did I ruin everything by lowering?
Thank you for being so funny.
I wanna thank
All
you.
right, I'm
for being
kicking him out.
an
I'm kicking him out. I might just
Bye-bye.
actually kick him out of the Discord. Oh, there he goes.
The Discord. Wow.
Okay, Mike.
I'm not happy with my camera.
No, it's fine. Yeah, adjust it. That's fine. We sound good, everybody. I was messing around with audio just enough that maybe you messed something up. Hopefully, we sound good. Let me know if we don't. I think we're good. Started. What, dude?
You just need to turn it a little bit. What, dude? Hey, dude. I want to thank you for being an edgelord.
It's snowing.
You live in Colorado, kid. Of course it is.
No, it'll be okay. Listen, that's why we fed him yesterday. So he'll take the food back to his nest, and he'll be fine today.
Oh, that bird's as good as dead, kid. Sorry.
Hey,
Say
listen to me.
goodbye.
Listen to me. Go watch the snow, and I need you here. Can you do me a favor? You need to be a big help. Listen for the doorbell, because when the doorbell's here, that means our food is here. Okay? And I want you to come get me and tell me.
Go look at the
Okay.
snow and say your goodbyes.
Go upstairs and listen, and watch the show and listen to the snow.
Don't watch the show. Uncle Mikey's being mean.
Don't watch this show. Go watch your show.
Don't watch
Okay.
this one.
The bird is as good as dead.
Look, I'm tired
being
of holding
real.
back. Just
I'm being
start
real.
telling things as it is.
When things start getting real. Okay. I think we're ready to go. You ready, Mike?
Mikey, ready?
Okay. Actually, you probably can't hear the music because I'm realizing now I probably have Discord set to the thing because I've been guesting on every podcast that exists.
Oh, I'm Jeff. I'm so popular. Everybody wants to hear my opinions about.
It was a humble brag. I'm complaining because I'm pretty busy. You know,
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Ready? All right. 5, 4, 3. It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. Welcome to the GamesBeat Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything happening in the world of video games so you don't have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeff Grubb. With me is
Mike Minotti, and I'm realizing we did not tweet that we are live. I'm doing that now.
We'll get around to it. Here, tweet that I'm gonna do the ARBY'S thing because I'm gonna do the ARBY'S thing. I'm gonna order right now. Hang on, let's just do this.
You need to tweet it. You have more followers than me.
I was gonna retweet it, but I guess you're right.
No, that's not good enough. I'll tell you what. I'm glad you're doing it because I'm almost getting tired of people bothering me.
Yeah,
my brother was like, "Oh, Mike, you need to do it." I'm like, "AJ, you know I have Crohn's. Literally can't." He's like, "Ah, but it'd be pretty funny." I'm like, "I just can't." He's like,
brother
"Everybody,
sore.
don't you think Mike should do it?" I was like, "I fucking can't do it."
All right, well, I'm doing it. I'm gonna order ARBY'S live on the podcast right now. Spicy sandwich thingy. So I spelled sandwich as sandwich with an S. Sandwich thingy. All right.
Sandwich is a hard one. I mess up sandwich a lot.
Feels like there should be a T in there. I think I probably put a T in there for a really long time when I was a kid. Okay. So I'm gonna go to Grubhub. All right. Let's not make a thing out of it.
Grubhub, lol. That's funny.
Well, let's not make a thing out of it. Arby's.
I tell you, we had a lot of people watching Tuesday's show because obviously the Xbox thing, the 10 dogs. Maybe this Arby's thing that'll bump up this one.
Yeah, this is what the people are actually here for. Okay, what is this thing called?
It's a Diablo something.
Can I? Because I might not even be able to order it here on this Grubhub app, and now that might be a problem.
Oh, they must have it. Arby's Diablo.
You know what? I could just Diablo
Dare. The Arby's Diablo Dare sandwich.
Nothing to eat here.
It spits fire, but also flavor, according to takeout.com.
All right, let me try DoorDash. Maybe DoorDash will have it on their thing. All right.
And according to Patrick Schwing, Chief Marketing Officer of Arby's, this is not a sandwich for the faint of heart. How do we get Schwing on this show? Where's Schwing?
Frankly, I believe that me and you bring plenty of Schwing each week.
That's right. Remember when people were saying Schwing for a bit because Austin Powers did in that movie? Then Schwing became a thing. We were all saying Schwing.
You are embarrassing yourself right now. I'm embarrassed to be associated.
I'm not saying we should bring it back. I'm just saying
you got it. You are so wrong. You are embarrassing yourself.
I'm wrong.
Yeah, Austin Powers. Are you kidding me?
Schwing.
Wayne's World. Sometimes? Wayne's World. Schwing. God, I'm embarrassed to do a podcast with you.
That's what it. You're right. Wow. It is Wayne's.
Okay,
how could I possibly get confused?
Listen, I would never make such an amateur mistake.
Wow. Okay.
White cheddar mac and cheese. All right.
That's so good. You might want that to calm your
the Diablo thing's not on DoorDash either.
What the hell?
Maybe they just don't have it at this Arby's.
Maybe you have a shit tier Arby's.
Yeah, maybe.
Hey, Jeff, we tweeted you were doing this.
All right, I'm just going to order a regular Arby's because I still got to get food for my kids.
Just get some hot sauce. Damn it, Jeff. Isn't there like a note? Damn it. We're letting everyone down.
There's
you are, not me. I did nothing wrong.
Crispy fish sandwich. They got the fish sandwich. Mint chocolate shape. Yeah, no shit. All right. Well, this is
You're supposed to get a free shake with your Diablo Dare sandwich.
This has been a disaster, just through and through.
This is going poorly. We haven't talked about any video games. we spent all this time trying to get a sandwich that apparently you can't get.
Yeah, maybe we're being gaslit. Maybe this thing never existed in the first place.
Maybe this thing never existed. Everyone's just messing with us, including Mr. Schwing.
All right, listen, thank you for joining us. You get more from me and Mike at GamesBeat.com. If you have something to share with us, email the podcast at games+podcast@venturebeat.com. Thank you to Carlos Ain, who did our theme songs. He's Insane in the Rain Music on YouTube. If you're listening to this on the website player widget, you can subscribe to the audio version of the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. If you like the show, rate us on Apple Podcasts. Also, Spotify just introduced a rating system. Go ahead and give us 5 stars in there. Ooh. I noticed a lot of people have done that, and I want to say thank you to everyone who has. It means a lot. If we do like a giveaway that involves like, rate us on Spotify, we'll make sure that you were all included. If you're watching live, hit the thumbs up button on YouTube. That helps people find the show. And then join the Discord, discord.gg/GameMess. That link is in the description. Thank you to our mods. Support the show by going to patreon.com/GameMess. And from there, you get into the secret channels inside the Discord, like podcast producers and industry secrets. That's right. And then register for our upcoming GamesBeat event, which is next week, events.venturebeat.com. And you can get all the details there.
It is next week. Dang.
Yeah. Okay. Mike, I think that we have to talk about the news.
Last week. Okay.
I mean, listen. A lot happened this week, but also one thing happened this week is kind of how it feels like.
Right. Yeah.
That one thing is also 90 things. Like there's so many ways to look at it. Microsoft acquired Activision Blizzard King for $68.7 billion. This happened on Tuesday. We did do a Nintendogs right away and talked about it then because we were going to do that podcast that day anyhow. We talked about it a lot then. Mike, how has your thinking evolved since then? Have you had any new thoughts about it?
I mean, the most interesting thing going on right now is the whole Call of Duty will they, won't they thing. And that message from Phil Spencer, which is so interesting because like when you first read it, you're like, wow, they're going to keep making Call of Duty games for PlayStation after all. Then you keep reading it, especially if you read it from like your lens of what you've been saying about how Microsoft wants Sony to put Game Pass on PlayStation. You start thinking like, oh, it's their desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. It's not their promise, right?
It's not their, like, he used the word intent for the other thing. Like, okay, I'll just read it. I confirmed our intent to honor all existing agreements upon acquisition of Activision Blizzard and our desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. Sony is an important important part of the industry, and we value our relationship. So, like, they have an intent to honor agreements. They have a desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. Now, maybe this is just him, sort of just the way he talks, but to me,
maybe we're looking too into it, but I feel like that's pretty deliberate. I feel like this tweet had to be thought about very carefully.
Yes, I think so. I think that this tweet, like, it starts with him saying, like, "Oh, I had a great chat with Sony this week." Do you think there's a chance that Sony called him up and said, "Hey, homie, okay, we see you're doing your thing. We appreciate that, but can we have, like, maybe you go out and help quell the craziness that's happening with our stock price? Like, just do us that favor while we continue this conversation." I bet Phil Spencer was like, or if maybe that was Phil Spencer's idea. Like, I want to help. Like, we see Sony's stock price dipping. We don't think that's actually reasonable. So we're going to come out and say, listen, everyone calm down. We're going to figure this out with PlayStation. We're not trying to destroy them. Do you think there's anything to that?
Maybe. I mean, they want PlayStation to be healthy because, for one thing, one of their biggest arguments for why this isn't antitrust is because PlayStation makes more revenue than Xbox does, right?
Right.
So you kind of can't have things coming out spitting in the face of that. I think I could see the point where Sony maybe reached out to them. I mean, they probably reached out to them because they wanted clarification on what's going to happen with Call of Duty. I think we all knew that, like, yeah, past agreements had to be upheld, but it is still this big question mark. What happens going forward? And you can read that so many ways. Like, Call of Duty will be on PlayStation. Well, what? Just Warzone, future games, but conditionally. Right. What is the condition? Is it Game Pass? There's it's getting to a point where it's almost like, man, I guess I just don't know. We just have to wait and see. When you first talked about how Microsoft wants Game Pass on PlayStation, I thought you were a little bit of a cuckoo. But like when I read your things and I think about it more carefully, I could see where it can happen. I think I don't think you're overlooking the human element, but you're just, you're not talking.
I'm not talking about it. I'm setting it aside and then saying, yes, if anything's going to stop this, it will be that stubbornness of that human element. It will be, yes, absolutely correct. And I think that's probably still the biggest factor in all of this. I really think that's the biggest thing. But if I think that this is the kind of thing you do if you're Microsoft, to get PlayStation to reconsider their own hubris and their own confidence in what they're doing, and you try to shake them and say, hey, ignore your own stubbornness, ignore whatever you were doing before. You need to reassess everything because the landscape just completely changed, and you can't do business today the way you were doing it yesterday. But who knows if Sony actually does that? Sony could find other ways to compete. This is not the only way forward. It's just, I think, probably this, like, the right way forward, in my opinion, at least. I think you're right, though, that we just don't know. And the way you can read that tweet is, like, you can read it any way you want. And that's what's kind of going to be. It's going to be this for the next year, at least, I think, until this deal closes. It's going to be
Rorschach test of a tweet.
Yeah, Rorschach test. And we're just going to kind of have to all accept that we don't really know until this deal closes and they come out and say once and for all what's going to happen here. I think that at least this time, that they'll come out right away and they'll say, I guess they did that with Bethesda as well. They came out right away and just said, hey, anywhere where Game Pass is available. But I mean, I think, this one's a little bit more complicated because Call of Duty is so many things. Call of Duty is Warzone, like you said. So, yeah. Obviously, this is not just about Call of Duty, World of Warcraft. Like, have you heard any reverberations through that community about what this means for them?
Most of them seem pretty. The sentiment I get from everybody is that things couldn't possibly be worse, right? So, like, a shakeup is good, and that's what how I thought everybody was going to feel, and that's how most of the big kind of YouTubers seem to be reacting to it. That's how the people, in the community seem to be reacting to it. Just any hope for a change there is something that they are going to be looking forward to. And, we're hearing reports that that's almost how employees at Activision Blizzard seem to be responding to this. Like, even though they know that, like, some of them are going to lose their jobs, it seems like the attitude is still mostly that this is a good thing because they were that fed up with the current leadership.
Yes. Obviously, this is not going to solve all the problems day one. Even like once the thing closes, it's not going to be like, oh, everything's better now. But at a certain point, like, the change has to start somewhere. And I think it's okay to sort of be hopeful here that better things can come because of what is changing now. They were not, like, no one had hope that better things were going to come with Bobby Kotick in charge and business as usual, and them not really changing the way that they greenlight games and the way that they make games and the way they hire people. None of that stuff was really up for debate. It was all going to kind of continue as usual because they had to, because they were committed to that business model, and now they're not anymore, and so things could really change. I don't know. It feels like we're going to have a chance to talk about this whole topic to death going forward.
Sure.
But
here's one question I have for you. Do you think Microsoft is reviving the backwards compatibility team a little bit here because they're going to have such a catalog of games that maybe could come?
I think so. Yeah, I think that. So. I think they come back. They're like, oh yeah, okay. Here's a lot of stuff that we can now easily get on here. Probably like a lot of that's going to be. There are some old Call of Duty games. It's like immediately like, let's just buff them up, FPS boost them to 120 or something like that. Like they'll do that stuff, and then there's gonna be a ton of stuff that Activision has, like making sure all the Guitar Hero games just run. Like they could just do that. I guess maybe there's licensing issues with the music there that would be a challenge, but Microsoft could also like figure that stuff out and be like sort of a hero. A Guitar Hero, god damn it.
Remember how Guitar Hero 1 actually had an unlockable song called Guitar Hero? I don't think anybody remembers that, but I sing that song to myself sometimes.
The song I played the most was the Boston song, but I definitely played More Than a Feeling, but I also played that Guitar Hero song a lot as well.
Yeah. It was interesting, in that interview with Washington Post, Phil Spencer brought up like 3 properties that they now own, and the 3 that he brought up were Guitar Hero, of course, there's going to be something Guitar Hero, King's Quest, which surprised me a little bit, and then he was like, I think we owe this one but Hexen, so that was pretty fun to see that, like, he knows about Hexen, so there's going to be at least a talk about it. Like, I don't know how far it'll get. King's Quest is interesting. I don't know, like they already revived King's Quest, was like shockingly Activision did in like 2016, and they made an episodic game. It seemed like fine. It seemed about what you could do with King's Quest in a modern era. Right. I'm not sure how else you can push that. There are some other older Sierra things that, again, they're all like adventure games, so I don't know if they're going to try to Mask of Eternity it and turn one of those franchises into like an action RPG. Maybe it becomes another Skyrim thingy. Maybe Activision Blizzard is going to look at King's Quest or Quest for Glory and be like, this can be our Elder Scrolls now. I don't know. It's a possibility.
Yep, everything's sort of like back on the table when it comes to like those old IP, and he made it really clear, but I think it's obvious to everyone who's been paying attention. That's what it's really about for them, is like having a huge catalog of games to pick from and having a bunch more teams to work on games.
Although I just said that, I was like, why would they need a Skyrim? They have Xbox has Skyrim.
They have Skyrim and they have Avowed. Yeah,
they have Avowed. So it's like the last thing that they really need is to turn one of these franchises into another fantasy open world. And they have Fable, so it's actually like I don't think King's Quest is coming back. I think that's an absolute no.
I think
maybe Space Quest. I don't know.
Yeah, Space Quest would be fun. I think they find a fun way to bring those back. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe something. Maybe they find some smaller studios and just maybe they can start like an EA Originals thing and get some small studios working on some of these IPs. Like remember how Konami was doing that tasteless contest for some of its older IPs? Maybe something like that, but not a contest. Just like, we'll hear your pitches and appropriately decide if we want to give you money or not.
Yeah. Let me add, like, think this one out with me a little bit, because when I read about this stuff, I kind of just like, I'm like, okay, this makes sense to me, and then I think about it a little more. I'm like, okay, actually, this is really complicated. So what I'm wondering here is, okay, yeah, Game Pass does get on PlayStation, and people are like, oh, so it's gonna be cloud streaming, and I was assuming it would be, no, they're gonna port the games to PlayStation, literally put those games back on the PlayStation Store to buy for $60-$70, whatever, and then also enable you to buy the subscription to Game Pass, and it would sit alongside Spartacus. And I know people are like, then what about Spartacus? I'm like, what about it? It would do just fine next to that. Like, you have multiple subscriptions already in your life. Most people do. What are you talking about? But like, it does make it a little bit weird at that point, because then you can get all of these Xbox games on PlayStation, but you can't get all these PlayStation games on Xbox. Like, there's some weirdness there that, like, even I can't thread the needle on that.
Do you think that they just give them a gimped Game Pass that doesn't have say, Halo, it doesn't have like Fable and stuff like that? Maybe it's like, yeah, here's like most of the third party stuff and maybe the Bethesda and Activision Blizzard stuff, but maybe that's part of the reason why Phil Spencer's not head of Xbox anymore. He's head of Microsoft Gaming, because there still is an Xbox brand that will not ever be on a PlayStation console.
I suppose that seems possible. Like, yeah, you could sort of, at this point, Activision and Bethesda could easily show up in a Game Pass and justify itself as a subscription service. But also, I don't know if they want to do like that sort of like self that self-limiting factor of like, okay, we're gonna hold things back, and if you come to Xbox, then you really get everything. That doesn't seem to be.
There's like a million little problems and questions with it. Like, as much sense as it could make, as much as I think Microsoft does want it. I know you kind of like were dismissive of it, but again, I do think there's gonna be a part of them. I was like, we're trying to launch our own thing here, and we really want to put Microsoft's gigantic service on to compete with it immediately, right?
I mean, but like, if Call of Duty is actually going to be like, if it ends up being exclusive to get anywhere where Game Pass is, to me that's like, if you're PlayStation, even if you have Spartacus, like part of Spartacus is paying money per month to play a game online, and a lot of people just do that for Call of Duty. And it's like, if you're PlayStation, you kind of need Call of Duty to help justify even Spartacus. So it's like, I don't know. Right, there are so many variables, so many factors. I bet the people involved aren't even exactly sure what this all looks like now. But they have time to figure it out, and we're going to have a lot of time to talk about this. I'm sure the question is going to come up repeatedly throughout this entire year. So yeah, it's going to be the ongoing conversation. Let me say, okay, so the small little thing that did happen to Activision, I'm sorry, today, the testers at Raven Software, the people who are QA testers, they formed the first union at a major gaming publisher, and they're asking for voluntary recognition. This is the first union in the big budget games industry. Mike, do you think this is something like that they're trying to like get done right now so that they can keep that momentum going before Xbox sort of swoops in?
I think that there might be some truth to that, and I wonder, like, how does Activision respond to that now? Do they have to kind of talk to Microsoft about this now? Like, how does Microsoft feel about it? Because it's like, great, this was your mess, this was your problem you came up with, and now, like, look what you did, and they can't back out of their deal or anything. Now we know they'd have to pay money. Of course, not that this would be a reason to back out of the deal, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I guess it's another thing. Like it's such an overload, Jeff. It's like I'm trying to figure out, man, what does this mean?
Right.
Because what's the scale of this? Is this just a union for testers at Raven or for all of Raven? So it's a union for testers at Raven, and they also want to get it done because I think that like the deadline for when some of those people are being let go is coming up. So that's another reason why they probably want to do that. But Ray said, it's just a consequence of this other boneheaded move of them trying to fire as many people as possible, probably so that they seem more attractive to buyers in hindsight, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's why it's like, let's get rid of testers at Raven. Their game launched, right? Who cares? So yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this one?
I generally echo what you're saying, where it's like, I think they're like, hey, it doesn't matter who's going to own us. The problems are going to be sort of consistent. And even if Microsoft comes in and they promise to make things better, we want to say in what better looks like. And so you go forward with the union, and I applaud them, and hopefully they're able to like, take it to the level of like being a legally recognized union and having that power. That stuff's still to come. But they have made a first important step toward that. So I was really impressive, and maybe it kicks off a little bit of a snowball effect, and we see this happen at more than just Activision. That would be really
I was
impressive.
surprised. I honestly thought that all of this stuff was dead. I was like, oh, everyone's going to be really like to put into turmoil over the Xbox thing, and they're going to be placated by it. So I was impressed that they still were able to organize like this.
PlayStation stock, Sony stock to be specific, fell. It fell about 13%, and that was a total of $12 billion of value following this news. To me, Mike, that seemed like a great overreaction from the market.
Sure, of course, but I mean, look, this is like we said, this is probably the biggest game story since we've been doing this for 10 years, and who appears to be the loser in this deal? It's Sony. So the market is going to react, and guess who it's going to react not in favor of. So yeah, I'm not too surprised, and it is kind of unfortunate, but it's probably going to continue to push Sony to have to make some kind of a rebuttal here.
I think I said, did I say 12? I meant $20 billion from the value, but it's 13%.
I heard you. Sorry. I know it was 20.
Yeah, sorry.
20,
I was
20
reading
billion.
12, or I was thinking 12%.
I just wasn't listening to Jeff because I knew the story, but yeah, 20 billion. This kind of brings me back to what I was saying. Like, I still expect Sony to make some kind of a deal somewhere. And I'm surprised how many people seem dismissive of that online. Like, they can't possibly do it. Microsoft paid with cash, and Sony would have to borrow money, and they're in debt up. This company would be too expensive.
Yeah. They have a lot of debt, but it's like, at a certain point, like, it's probably better to take on debt than to fall behind in like one area where you're super successful. If you have to compete, you have to compete. If that means borrowing money, that's an option you have to take and just add more debt. I mean, they make they're profitable enough that they could service their debt pretty easily still, even that huge amount that they have. And that might be the path they go, and it's just like the matter of like who's out there and how valuable is it to actually acquire them versus like the business partnerships you already have with them. It's like Square Enix obviously is like, it is right there, but they get so much of those games on PlayStation exclusive already.
They're not getting Final Fantasy Origin exclusive, man. That's 20 million, right, that's 20 billion right there. There you go.
You nailed it. You found out. That's the real reason this is going to happen.
Crack the code.
Okay, there's a lot of questions coming in. Keep those coming in. We will address all of those here pretty soon. Let's get through the rest of the news. Let's see, Nintendo is Zelda Majora's Mask is coming to Nintendo Switch Online in February. This is after Banjo-Kazooie launched last night. Yeah, last night. Yeah. So they are definitely still doing one per month. At this point, I'm like, that's what it is. This is fine. At least I have something to look forward to. At least they're like announcing it about a month out. So it's like, we know at least what's coming. We don't have to be miserable. Like, are they even going to release a game?
But definitely, so like we'll get Genesis games, but definitely, have they released any NES or Super Nintendo games since they started doing Nintendo 64?
No, they were just released some Genesis games as well, and then this. I mean, I'll play it again. We'll see, but it's like, this is what it is.
I would have a hard time recommending anybody play the original over the 3DS version, except for accessibility's sake. Like, I get it. You're going to get this one with a subscription, and you can play on your Switch. I understand that, but and I think it sounds like they've improved the emulation a bit, but input lag is still a pretty big problem. So I don't know. I don't want to play Majora's Mask on Nintendo Switch Online. I'll say that.
Let's see. We have Bobby Kotick, the Bobby Kotick section of our news here. Let's go through some of this. Shareholders and partners, employees are still holding Bobby under pressure because he's still held back information about like bad things that were happening at the company that he did not disclose to people that were working there and to investors. This is like, so that he's still going to have to face some consequences. He's also going to get that big payday because he owns the most shares in Activision Blizzard. This is kind of what you have to do to get someone like him out. You really have to buy out his company, give him money, and tell him to leave. Like, it's awful that that's the only recourse, but that really is the only recourse. Let's see. According to multiple sources, Kotick must leave the company after the deal with Microsoft is closed. This is when he will get his giant sum of money. But that's something like on Tuesday, before we got this stuff for sure, we were speculating that's almost certainly going to happen, right?
Right.
Mike?
I mean, I think anybody who like, I think some people had an immediate like violent like non-critical reaction to like the news that he was staying on. But as soon as you think about it, of course he's not going to stay on permanently. Of course this deal wasn't going to happen. Like you said, he's the largest stockholder and he's the CEO. He's not going to allow a deal in which he is thrown out in disgrace, but he's also not going to want to stay around. He's not. And I know in our interview we have on GamesBeat with Dean Takashi, he said, "Oh, he's fine reporting to Phil Spencer."
Sure he is.
Yeah, right.
No, he's
There's
not.
no
way.
way.
Not
his pride would ever allow that. Give me a break.
I really don't believe that. I mean, and one of the reasons like I think he wouldn't be okay is because he might suggest something like going out and buying Kotaku or PC Gamer to change the narrative around Activision Blizzard, which is something that he actually did propose, or at least reportedly proposed to some people that are in his inner circle. And I bet Phil Spencer would be like, what the fuck are you talking about? What are you? Are you insane? You can't do that.
You can't do that. You idiot.
You absolute fool.
I wonder if he wanted to buy us. I bet he did.
Yeah.
I bet that came up as a possibility.
Yeah, I'm sure we were in there at least, or if not, I'm like, why doesn't he want me, man? Why don't he want me?
He has a relationship with Dean. Dean's interviewed him a bunch. So again, not saying like Dean's some kind of like lapdog of his, but like he does more interviews with Dean than anybody else. Yeah. So I'd be shocked if he didn't think of us.
Oh my god, pay up though, pay up.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I have a price. Don't worry.
Here's some of the stuff that I think is maybe him posturing a little bit. He said he was hesitant to sell to Microsoft and thought Meta would buy Activision Blizzard. He also said like EA was in the mix, and I think that that is probably overstating it. I think that's overstating.
Man,
yeah.
I don't see how EA would be able to. I mean, I
don't think they were.
Borrow money.
I don't think they were going to though. I think that if anything, it was just like a conversation, and I think it's more like Bobby Kotick going, "Look what you missed out on. You could have had all this." And he did a little shimmy, and it's like, no, I'm going to Microsoft instead. And EA's like, cool, have fun with. I mean, EA is freaking out; they are absolutely freaking out. But they're all like, yeah, okay, we get it. We weren't going to spend that much money.
They also were going to acquire Activision Blizzard, sure.
Let's see. Blizzard created new roles like culture leader, diversity and inclusion leader, and they got a new HR leader. This is like part of like something that they announced a little bit ago of them saying, hey, we are going to institute new processes to make sure it's a good place to work. And we're also going to give up like quarterly updates on the sentiment of the people working at this company and harassment reports and stuff like that. We still haven't seen one of those. And I do wonder if we actually will ever get to see one of those. But I mean, this is the start of that, I guess. All right, let's shift gears a little bit. Release dates: Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga coming April 5th. Mike, I looked at that trailer. That looks different than other Lego Star Wars games. They were like it kind of almost had Fortnite vibes in the way that the gameplay worked, like third person shooter some sort of thing.
Yeah, we'll see. I've never been super on board the Star Wars games since basically the Lego games since basically that first Star Wars one, which I thought was fun. But like there is still a little bit of that baby gameness here, and maybe this is getting away from that and it'll be something to be excited about.
Yeah, I think a baby game now is, and this is not me trying to be insulting to Fortnite, is Fortnite. Like Fortnite is
I know what you mean.
Like kids play
that.
It
has a very young audience, and it's very complicated.
Right, and like Roblox even is like sort of like it makes sense that they've gone from like that top-down view and saying no, kids could do like dual stick shooting, so let's make a game like that.
Criticize baby games because they're ridiculous. Like it's why the whole Battle in Wonderworld, like their whole methodology there was ridiculous.
Oh
they're
yes,
like,
absolutely.
One button, that'll be good. It'll be more accessible. No, it'll bore more people than possible. Yeah, we'll see. But the weird thing about this is that I think the announcement of the release date came out minutes after Polygon published their report about crunch at Traveler's Tales. So like that, incredible timing there, huh?
Here's one of the stories from that report that really got to me is that someone was leaving to go home for the day, and someone else, like one of their managers or something, followed them out to their car and was like, "Are you loyal? Do you really believe in what we're doing here?" And I'm like, motherfucker, like, am I loyal to making a game for children and people who are high, like people who are high and like only like Star Wars? Like, no, of course not. Pay me money. Pay me more money.
People who are high. I know that. I mean, that's such an old thing. The whole, we are family, or like we are like this big thing, and you're a part of this big important thing, and you should feel honored to be here. It's a lot of people are like, no, fuck that.
Yeah, fuck
this is
that.
my job, and maybe I can like it, and I can take pride in my work. Absolutely. I can even take pride in the team, but like, give me a fucking break. I'm going home.
Yeah, God, that really got to me.
It's weird. And look, I bet that was just like an old guard guy, and at one point he was the young guy, and everybody above him, they thought that way, and it was instilled in him, and it somehow gave his pathetic life meaning. Right. I don't know.
Right, this stuff doesn't start with one individual being weird. It is a cultural thing that is passed down and down and down. Donnie Reese in chat says that he started the new shooting mechanics in the Force Awakens Lego game, which I didn't even know they made a Force Awakens Lego game. So
they did.
All right, then, fair enough.
Yeah, I remember that because they actually had like freaking Harrison Ford doing voices in that and stuff. So that was I was like, whoa, that's the weird thing about this game, though, right? Like it's the last third of it is going to be playing that new trilogy. It's like the final epic part of that game is going to be playing through what is probably, at least right now, the least liked movie in the franchise.
Yep,
it's gonna be like a bit of a bummer.
Yep. I mean, hey, they got to do what they got to do. And I mean, they don't need to crunch, though, basically, to get this game. I guess it seems like it's taken way longer than it needed to. But it's like,
what is everybody's sentiment about this game, Jeff? People have been asking you about this constantly, is when is it coming out?
You're right. You're right.
I was trying to blame the gamers for it. But look, there's pressure to get this one out there.
Absolutely. But we all exist in this system and we're all part of it. So it's like they're like examining our own place in sort of creating that pressure is worth doing. Let's see, some other news tidbits. You cannot play Diablo 2 Resurrected after 30 days of being offline. So if you've been offline for 30 days, there's a DRM issue. Is this something that has been...
Yeah, people have been talking about this. I don't quite understand. I mean, are you literally saying, like, you can't access your game more if you haven't played it for 30 days? That seems extreme.
I mean, it seems it seems like something has broken there, is what it seems like. Because obviously, Diablo 2 Resurrected is a premium price. It's not a free-to-play game or some weird thing.
Right.
You paid for it. You should own it as much as we own anything that's digital or whatever.
I mean, it's probably been 30 days since I played Diablo 2 Resurrected. So I
maybe try to put it up after the show.
Yeah, I don't quite understand it because like that seems ridiculous. But maybe I don't know. I mean, it's Activision Blizzard, so who knows?
I like this one as well. Strauss Zelnick was talking about the Grand Theft Auto trilogy on CNBC, And he described as like the issues that came out. He's like, we had a little glitch in the beginning, and that glitch was resolved, and the title is done just great for the company, so we're very excited.
It's all better. We fixed it.
It was like a glitch, like there was one little glitch.
Shut the hell up.
I'm like, no, you guys just didn't do a very good job. Actually, you did a bad job, and we could talk about it that way. But whatever. I guess the game sold at least pretty okay. It showed up on the MPD charts, not in the top 20. I don't know if it was very high.
I mean, it's still Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeff, I have a couple clarifications here. So apparently you can play those trilogies in any order in Star Wars. So you can save you don't have to end it all with, I mean, if you want to go in sequential order, I guess you would, but you don't have to end it with episode 9. Excuse me.
That makes sense. Those games are kind of like come as you are. They're not very like dictatorial about how you can enjoy their content. They're like, yeah, do whatever you want.
And then the other thing here. So Diablo, I think what they're saying is that you can't play the game offline unless you've checked in online at least once, like in 30 days, which is stupid, but not as quite as like ridiculous.
Right, okay.
How I was reading it. Like, okay.
Right. Like, so if you are like taking your laptop with you to Antarctica and for some reason your room doesn't have internet, like you're gonna have to go plug it into the wall or something at some point.
That makes more sense. Still stupid, but like
still stupid.
I was visually reading like they can't actually do that. That seems illegal. Like,
yes, I mean, probably would violate some rules in like Europe or something. Excuse me. Okay. Here's the big one. 3 new Garfield games from Microids is coming in years, or in the coming years. So. I mean, hopefully not too long, because Mike, there's never enough Garfield games. I know you feel that
not.
way.
Yeah, I wonder if one of these is going to finally be that big open world Garfield game that we've heard rumored for years. Obviously, it's going to be a sequel to Garfield Kart Racer. We all know that that's happening. I just hope that the third one isn't a mobile thing. Hope it's something like new and exciting for the franchise.
Right. For the hardcore, right? For the hardcore.
Yeah, I don't want a Garfield baby game.
All right. I skipped over this, but I'm not actually going to skip over this. Mike, there's a Kingdom Hearts 20th anniversary event set for April 10th. Why?
Because they're probably going to announce it. Well, because it's all right, Jeff. I know, like, it's a big series, and unlike 35th anniversaries, 20th anniversaries are actually a thing that people care about. So, yeah, I think they're doing a concert, not a full length one like the Sonic one, but some kind of concert at some point. Maybe not even on that day. But look, they could be announcing something here too. We could be learning more about the future of this franchise. I bet we'll get some kind of announcement.
And the future is it's still bad.
Oh my! Get over it, Jeff. Get over it.
At this point, it's hard. It's hard because like I post like just a joke to someone like, hey, yeah, like oh, it's bad on Switch, but it was like it's Kingdom Hearts, so it's always bad. And there were so many people who got so mad at that.
You're baiting them.
At this point, I am. Yes, absolutely.
And my God,
enjoying myself. This is one that I actually I got a little bit of this because I was doing a search for some. Trademarks and stuff. It seems that ex-Yakuza developer Toshihiro Nagoshi has gotten his own studio together under NetEase, and it's titled Nagoshi Studios. And I saw the logo and stuff that started to get around now. That seems to be accurate. So probably gonna see something from them here pretty soon, but you know it's gonna take time to start up a new studio and hire people. So that could also be a little bit of a ways off before we fully get what they're doing there. Here's something, the GDC report, or a GDC report where they go out and they talk to a bunch of developers and try to say, hey, what's it like to make games right now? Well, one of the questions they asked this year is, are you interested in NFTs? And Mike, can you guess their response?
I bet it was no.
It was basically, and that tone too, like, no, stop asking.
Definitely not.
Yeah. Game developers, the people who actually make games, very few of them seem to believe in this technology as something beneficial for the way that they make games. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not going to see NFT games, because they will still get made by other people. But people who've made games for any sort of period of time just have no faith in this stuff. So, not too surprised to hear that. Let's see, anything else here? Some of these things are repeated. Oh yeah, Ghostwire Tokyo might be listed for late March on the PlayStation Store. That seems really soon for that game. Like, it doesn't have a date right now, right?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
but again, this is like super on my radar, not exactly my kind of jam.
Yeah, I think we'll probably know here pretty soon, or we'll know more soon about this game. But that still seems very early. I guess I would be surprised. And then last couple stories. There's a Cuphead show in that we've known about that. That is arriving on Netflix on February 18th. And then Mike, a Shenmue anime is premiering on Crunchyroll on February 5th. Really?
Sure. Look, hopefully the guy's using this as a way to tell the rest of that story, and we can just all be like, okay, look, it's done.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, you know what? If it sets us all free, then I'm all for it. You're right.
It's a retelling of like Shenmue 1, 2, and 3. Like, then what the fuck? But if it's just like a way to add some closure to that, then fine, we did it.
I can't wait for the forklift episode, man. I'm gonna be so hot for that. All right, Mike. That does it for the news. We have a ton of super chats. We should just get right into them.
Super chats. We should. Yes, let's get into them.
And thank you everybody for sending those in. We'll get to all of them right now.
Yep. All right, here we go. Starting from the first one that came in. Brandon Bishop says, "Sorry, I said Mike feel bad with my last question." What was his last question? Man, I don't know what you said. I don't think I felt too bad. I'm probably just playing it up. He said, "Who's your main in the Xbox Vision Blizz does the Smash clone? I'm Doomslayer in Crash on the Geometry Wars stage." Gosh, who am I going to be? Can I be what is the name of the guy from King's Quest? I feel like I usually know his name. Something Graham with his little like Peter Pan hat and his red shirts.
Yeah.
You fucking pretend gamer.
I'm a Philistine. That's right.
Yeah. So I guess me not knowing his name probably just disqualifies him as a thing here. What is your answer, Jeff? Who are you going to main from the catalog of all these things? I mean, you could say Blinks the Time Cat. We can just call it a day.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. I don't know. I think someone here says Spyro. I think that'd be pretty cool. Oh, no, Rachel Kaiser says Spyro as well. Yeah, and I don't know. I would probably just take the like the wizard guy from Hexen. I liked playing Hexen 64, so like he's got a cool flaming sword. I'd probably be that guy.
I'm trying, Sir. Yeah, it is just Sir Graham. Okay, well then I guess I actually was right. I don't know why that sounded wrong to me when I was saying it in my head. For King's Quest there. All right, next question. When exactly did Jim Ryan know about the deal? And that is asked by Evan Dance. We know that. God, when did Jim Ryan learn about this? Huh?
Yeah, I bet he found out when everyone else found out. I mean,
what a day.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's possible that Activision was like, let's go ask Sony if they want to like match or beat this or like, you know, push the price up basically. But it doesn't seem like it. It seems like he found out when everyone else did. So I don't know for sure. I could try to ask around about that, but that's my hunch right now.
Jeremy G says, great work on all the coverage this week. Thank you, Jeremy. You know what? I did do great work. Jeff was slacking a bit, but I did good stuff.
I just took it easy. I was just kind of sleeping, taking lots of naps.
Ariel Delgado says, I want to see Toys for Bob make a Banjo remake, a Banjo sequel, a true 3D platformer Crash, more Spyro to conquer stuff, and a Banjo Cross Crash game. Jeff, you think that the Banjo remake is most likely? I think that Spyro 4 is maybe just slightly more likely. We'll see what happens here, but we both have a horse in that race now. We'll see who owes the other person a Coke.
Yeah, I really think a Banjo remake is inevitable.
I think they would both be very good ideas. So
yeah, fair enough.
Danny Mitchell says, Spartacus to Xbox and Game Pass to PlayStation in 2023? Exchange of hostages. I want this. It could kill 99% of console fanboy nonsense. Also, StarCraft Ghost, please, Phil. I tell you what, you put it in terms of that, like, will Spartacus go to Xbox? Like, once again, I mean, like, there's no way. But I don't know. Maybe I'm maybe an old man with old man thinking, Jeff.
I mean, it does seem implausible, doesn't it? But I don't know. 10 years from now, we might look back on this and be like, look how much this shit has changed. And it is going to change, but I have no idea how it's going to actually shake out in the end.
Okay. Radu Pericol Tagana says, how important are gaming CEOs? How much power do they wield? Phil seems all right and probably wants a healthy, humane business, but can he? Am I naive?
I don't know. I think that it seems to me that Phil Spencer has a lot of power to shape what this industry is going to look like. I mean, when you have the ability to write those kinds of checks, you can dictate a lot of stuff. I mean, eventually, like these things are going to like roll down, and eventually, like you're going to get down to managers who also have to believe in what they're putting out. But if it starts at the top and he walks that walk and he hires people and he hires people that like believe in what he believes in, he could do a lot to shape this industry, I think. So I don't know. I would say that he has quite a bit of power.
Chris says, if Microsoft has so much disposable income, Why are they still not including a controller with a built-in rechargeable battery with their $500 console? That's a good question, Jeff. I will say,
it's
of
not
all
a good
the
question.
things,
It's a bad question.
I know you like batteries, but
Yes, I do.
I'm not that upset about them. Whatever. I will say, I always think about how of all the things of technology that have changed, I'm shocked that I still have AA batteries on the ready. And they still basically just look like the things that I had as a very small child.
As a parent, I have more batteries in my life than I've ever had before, and I just committed to the rechargeable lifestyle and like the rechargeable AA's, and it's been fine. Like, and then whenever I need to pick up a controller, I could just if it's dead, I don't have to be like, oh god damn it, I just get I get batteries, replace them, and it's still wireless. This is not a problem with the DualSense because the DualSense battery is not quite as much just pure shit, but with the DualShock, every time I picked it up to play, it was dead. It was so frustrating. It was the most frustrating thing. So I'm happy to not have like a lithium-ion battery that's just slowly dying inside my Xbox controller all the time.
Rigo Romero says, I know the merger really doesn't affect Nintendo much, but should they be worried if Sony thinks about buying a Japanese publisher like Capcom, Square, or Bandai, who actually help Nintendo a lot? Out of those three, Capcom definitely helps Nintendo the most right now, it seems like. They were like the one third-party publisher that showed up in their NPD like top selling games of the year list with Monster Hunter Rise. I still don't know how much Nintendo would really care though. Like they still what their second best selling game of last year was still Mario Kart 8, right? Like that's as long as they have Nintendo games and they make a system that isn't like just some embarrassing disaster like Wii U, it seems like they are going to be fine.
And they always, if it comes, if worse comes to worse, they could always say, hey, Microsoft, let us figure out a way to get your stuff on here, and then we get a lot of other games from them. But I don't think they need any of those games. And we don't see like those sales because Nintendo doesn't share their digital stuff. So there's a lot of indie games that are selling very, very well on the Switch. And I think their goal would be like, let's focus on that even more. It's sort of like bring them up and let them like justify raising their prices and stuff, and maybe promote them a little bit more. And like the next Hades or whatever is something that like we really dominate in the same way we did with Hades 1. So I think that's their solution.
J-Boy on the Run asks, so WoW Xbox console could finally happen. Future. Yeah, I think it could. I think there's a lot of challenges there, maybe more than some people are like kind of aware of. But I think that is absolutely something that Microsoft probably at least wants them to give a very good try at. I think there's going to be a lot invested in trying to make that work. So that's going to be very interesting to see. Michael Fahey says, next week, Jeff should do the Samsung, the Samyang 3X noodle challenge as a make good, no milk. I assume this is another spicy food.
Must be another spicy thing. Okay, I'll look into it. I'll get those details and I'll see what I can do.
Well, now you better track down the sandwich for Nintendogs or GamesBeat or something.
I'll see what other Arby's there are. Yeah.
If you make a Giant Bomb exclusive, I'm going to fly to Colorado and murder you.
Oh, now I might do it. That's a good idea.
Achievement says all Spider-Man games used to be made by Activision. Think the Bat Combat team could bring those titles back? Could be a slap in the face to Sony. Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing though. Like, which ones would they be able to bring back? Like Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. I think like Web of Shadows. There are some there that people like.
I said it at the time, and you got pretty mad at me, but I still kind of half believe it. That Spider-Man 2 from like 2002 or whatever is just about as good as the new Spider-Man, like Marvel Spider-Man from.
No, it's not just. It's very good. I actually watched a speedrun of it during Games Done Quick, and it still like looks like that is a fun game. I want to play it again, but I mean, no, I think most people would have more fun playing the new one.
You're right.
But I don't think they're going to bother trying to do backwards compatible with Spider-Man games. That's going to be kind of, especially if they're trying to play nice with Sony right now. I don't think they're going to do that. Fossil 007 says, would Sony act on good faith and allow Final Fantasy VII Remake and Street Fighter V to go to Xbox if Phil could let them have Call of Duty and is the Kojima game still happening? This shouldn't affect that Kojima thing.
No, it doesn't affect the Kojima thing. And I think, but I mean, what do you think about them playing nice like that? That just
like there are plenty of other chips that could be exchanged aside from Game Pass. There are a lot of things like that. There's the whole, Sony's crossplay weirdness stuff and whatnot that maybe they could be looser on. There's a lot of things here that they could talk about and hammer out in a lot of different ways that deals could be made. I don't know how big of a chip Final Fantasy VII Remake really is. So certainly not nearly as big of or Street Fighter 5, which is like kind of getting old now. Those aren't, compared to Game Pass, those are very important chips, I would say.
Yeah, Call of Duty is just massive compared to that. Yeah.
Georgie says, Jeff, Avowed info this year? Jess said yes.
I expect to get updates on many of those games that have already been announced. Like, we should get updates on Avowed and Fable and Perfect Dark and stuff. And I expect a lot of that stuff to happen at E3, if not then, definitely by the Game Awards. Most of those games, none of those games are really going to come out this year, but we should start to get updates and the marketing will begin, and it'll be a big push of like, hey, Game Pass. We got Call of Duty still coming. Don't worry about that. And so, yeah, they'll talk about that stuff beginning this year.
Georgie, that's the one I just read. Dash says, great coverage this week. If Game Pass lands on more platforms, will there be room for healthy competition from other future subscription services? I mean, Jeff, that's definitely the goal from Xbox here, is to be the leader in this field, to get out early with it, and to not kind of come in late like they have on some other things like Skype or,
right. And it's like, it might even go even further than that, right? Where it's like, they look at what's happening in movies, and Netflix had the first mover advantage and all that stuff, and now Netflix is like really suffering because they have to compete with Disney Plus and Paramount and all these a million other things, and all these other things are sort of like establishing themselves now, and so I think Microsoft's like looking that far down the line and be like, let's not just like establish the first mover advantage. Let's try to make it like really difficult to compete at all. Even if you're Sony, it's going to be hard to compete with your own subscription service. So I think they're really trying to play like a long-term box out strategy of owning this space and like really, really owning it. So that's why it's kind of worth it for them to spend $68 billion. So yeah.
B Martin 001 says Xbox will make Call of Duty great again. I wonder about that. Like they could, if by nothing else than by giving them more development time for each one, maybe.
Call of Duty have been up and down. Like Modern Warfare a couple years ago was pretty good. Like so, and like before that, like Infinite Warfare had like a really good campaign. And these things aren't like ancient at all. These things happened pretty recently. So I think they will. They'll have their ups and downs, and you're right. They might get a little bit more development time, and maybe there's a better likelihood that each one will be better than it would have been.
What I think is interesting is that just because now it's tied into the console war, a lot of the like core loud gamers that didn't care about Call of Duty anymore are suddenly going to be talking about the next Call of Duty again. And I think there's going to be some self-fulfilling prophecies there where a lot of people are like, wow, Microsoft made this new Call of Duty much better, even though like this next one they probably have very little to do with.
That's right.
We'll see. Supernova says, Ken Kutaragi's philosophy is to kill the competition in his favor. His statement in previous years after his exit from Sony, and Sony is still working on that, Dreamcast, Xbox One, for example. But that's just kind of how things were when he was in charge. He's been gone for a long time.
And it was like, he was right then,
blood. Yeah, it used to be a very bloody competition kind of thing. It was, you're all in for yourself. You made ads literally making fun of the competition, right? Like you wouldn't have.
The way Sony like did Sega dirty through those first couple of years, it was savage stuff. Like they were just like we're gonna make a better system, but we're gonna make sure it's $100 cheaper. And then when Sega realizes they have to cut the price, well, we have so much overhead here, we could just keep cutting the price and beat them. And it's like Sega was just done the moment that $100 advantage came out. So they had no chance. So.
Forget Sega went very hard after Nintendo, right? Like that's how they got a foothold in North America, was basically making fun of Nintendo. Yeah. Right. And I'm not upset or feel bad about anybody for it. That's just how it was. I think it's it's probably a good thing it's not like that anymore. But I don't get the idea that like Sony had this coming or something like that.
Right? This is just
some way or another.
Just business.
Mm-hmm. A Booty Bandit says, if Game Pass comes to PlayStation, what do you think that would look like? Would it be like how it is now with Xbox and PC, but including a curated library on PlayStation? I don't doubt anything anymore. So the curated library is what I brought up as a possibility, Jeff.
I think at the most it's Xbox only games. Like it's Xbox first party only. Like they wouldn't let third party deals transfer over to PlayStation. Sony would just make those deals themselves on PlayStation, and it's like that makes some sense, but even that's a little bit like confusing and challenging because it's like okay, so then do I pay the full $10 per month and I don't even get all the games. So, well, you do get all the games. You just have to go play those ones in the cloud. And if you stick with, if you're going to play them on PlayStation, you get this set of games. It's like, it is so confusing, so difficult to figure out. And so at a certain point, I do get why, like, it's easy just to assume they'll be like, oh, let's not even try to figure out what that looks like. Let's just ask those players to come over to us or to bring their controller to the cloud and play it on their TV or whatever. But I don't know. I think, like, it's really difficult to get someone who spent $500 on a console to be like, I'm not going to use that console. I'm just going to take the controller, use Bluetooth, connect it to my TV, download this thing, and begin streaming game. Like, I just don't think most people are actually going to do that. And I think they know that, so they want to be on PlayStation. But I still really don't know what that looks like.
RDX, Son of a Fett says, people cheer when Sony makes things exclusive. When Xbox does it, it's just like the Tomb Raider controversy. People freak out. I mean, I think if you're looking at it, if you're looking for that, compare that way, people freak out when Sony things are also exclusive. People have been very mad about Final Fantasy VII Remake and other stuff like that too. So yeah. I think it goes both ways, in both directions. There's camps on both sides that are going to vilify the one side and, you know, praise the other for doing the exact same things.
Yep, I agree.
Danger UXO says, any thoughts on if Rod Ferguson had a role in the deal?
I don't know. I mean, probably not. The hunch I have here is that very few people knew. It seems like very few people knew what was happening here. Phil, like his very close inner circle, and then a few people at Activision knew, and that's it. So I like Rod Ferguson finds out, like, yeah, no, I just don't think it would work out that way.
Next one here from two players says, announce COD as exclusive, but with it kill Xbox Gold would be a big win and calm fears, I think. Yeah, Jeff, do you think there's any more movement happening on the whole let's get rid of Xbox Live Gold thing?
I do, because, like, the thing I was always wondering, it's like, okay, they have to get to a certain threshold, but even when they do that, dropping that, like, they're gonna have $15 a month subscription for Xbox, or for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, and it's like, now you're just gonna take away Xbox Live Gold, and people were paying for Ultimate partially because that was part of that value. It's like, oh, you get Gold, and you get a Game Pass, and you get a few other things. So, like, what do you replace that with? I think what they do now is they have so much stuff. You make Game Pass Ultimate, you include maybe a little bit more DLC, you probably include a subscription to WoW, and then you can get rid of Xbox Live at that point, I think, and the value still remains the same. So I think the timeline on that might move up. I think that's my guess here.
OniX says, how about Call of Duty to PlayStation and Spider-Man to Xbox? Big one. Would that be enough of a trade? You think? I mean, is it going to like literally come down to that? Like, you can have this franchise, but we need this franchise on our thing. Like, I don't know.
We should maybe do like a horse trading episode or something like that. Like, pretend that we're the heads of these companies to be like try to do a draft with one another or something like that. But I don't know if the reality is going to work out that way. That seems like it feels like a deal like that would be so easy to fall apart. They'd be like, someone just wakes up one day and says, no, that's not enough. Like, Hexen and Guitar Hero aren't enough. Like, we need more than that. I don't know. It's so easy for those things to fall apart. So I don't think it works out that way.
Kyrie Williams asks, what's all the 2023 first Xbox games coming outside of Avowed and Hellblade? Will Compulsion's games and Fable make it out in 2023? So yeah, what is Microsoft's 2023 slate here? Probably Avowed and Hellblade. It's maybe Fable.
Maybe Perfect Dark.
Maybe Perfect Dark. Maybe Contraband or whatever.
Maybe. A lot of those could easily fall into 2024. That is the name of that game. But yeah, I like. There's a lot of stuff. I did a story on this a long time ago, and I can never remember them off the top of my head. But that's most of them. Yeah.
When do we hear about the next Gears?
Still a while, because like next year, 2023, we should also get the smaller game from that studio. What's the name of the film?
Right. The C something.
Yeah, the Coalition. So right. So we'll get a smaller game from them that isn't Gears of War, and then they'll start in earnest on Gears of War 6 here probably pretty soon, but it's still a ways off.
Wolf Assassin says, do you think Xbox is done with acquisitions? Could they still acquire smaller studios like IO or Crystal Dynamics while trying to acquire Activision Blizzard, or will they take another break? Well, Crystal Dynamics is still owned by Square Enix, so I mean, I guess maybe they could buy them from them. I mean, they're gonna at least take some kind of a break here. I don't know. I have my clown makeup on a bit because I was like, that Bethesda deal is so big, they can't possibly make another deal of that size. Blah blah blah. Right. So I won't say anything here anymore. I will not say that they definitely can't make another deal anymore. I don't know what to believe.
I think they will. I think they'll keep making deals. Like, yeah, like after Bethesda, it's like it seemed like they kind of got quiet for a while, and then they did this. It's so hard to say. They are definitely not done. They'll keep their eyes open to potential other deals that seem like good deals. We'll just have to wait and see.
Poochie says, who's to say Call of Duty even comes out in 2023? Law. I mean, it may not. Maybe it'll escape from that yearly cycle thing finally.
I mean, this is when they skip it. Hang on, I'm going to go help my kid with the open something real quick. It'll just be a second.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they had to escape from yearly cycles at some point here, right? Like, it's been getting harder and harder for them because games keep getting harder to make. Unless they can hold out long enough to, like, I don't know, at some point are the tools going to catch up where, okay, games are finally now getting easier to make on a AAA quality? I don't know. It seems like it's never happened that way yet. So at some point here, they can't keep up with that. And Xbox, unlike Activision Blizzard, they're not just going to keep throwing more studios at it. At some point, they'll tap out and say, okay, look, we can't do this every year anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen McIntosh says, Mike Ybarra, the new head of Activision, yes or no? Like, that makes sense, but they want a strong leader at Blizzard too, is the
exactly
thing, right?
Yeah.
And they just got him in there. It sucks that Jen O'Neill, but they let Jen O'Neill go, or they pushed her out. Really, like, that was such a big blunder, because now then you could have put one of them in charge of all of Activision and keep one of them at Blizzard. So
exactly, and you almost wonder, like, do they call up Jen O'Neill and say, hey, do you want to come back? Maybe, yeah.
She didn't, like, she started, I forget what it was. I forget if it was a nonprofit or something just involved with, advancing women's places in the game industry, which is nice, but it's also maybe not a super commitment. It's something that she could come back from if she wanted to. But there are other options here, like, complete outsiders, and
yeah. I mean, if it's an upward movement for Sarah Bond, maybe they take Sarah Bond and say, you go take over Activision. And then we have, Mikey Barr at Blizzard, you at Activision, and we really want you to, like, you come in with an iron fist and you make sure that they get their act together, and we trust you because you're the one that speaks to this so confidently. So maybe there's something there.
K Chow 21, which big tech company will compete with Xbox? I mean, I don't think Google is going to go at it again. That's for sure.
Not anytime soon.
They messed up. Apple also kind of has had half-hearted attempts here, so
they don't like games. Apple just doesn't like video games. They really do not like them. They're not going to do that.
It really just leaves Amazon, who's, like, tepidly walked in and had mild success with New World recently, and, like, maybe mild success with Luna. So they could, like, they're going to say, well, what the heck? We have a lot of money. You could just buy these companies. We could do that. Maybe we'll buy an EA or something. Maybe that's what happens. But if it's gonna be one of them, I think it would be an Activision. I cannot. I mean, look, Google could always just do it again. Amazon, excuse me. Yeah, Amazon. Google could always just try again, like, and fail again and not care because they have $1 zillion. Like, whatever.
Tencent's just gonna keep doing what Tencent does, and they're gonna keep acquiring and investing in a ton of studios. That's not gonna change at all. I think maybe Amazon, but I don't know. I think that this acquisition might scare some of them away and be like, oh, that's what it takes to compete in this. We actually don't want to do that. But
Magnum Visual says easy for me to say, Microsoft should lend cash to Sony so they could purchase EA or Take-Two with day one Game Pass drops for a few months as a deal before other tech giants do. I don't think Sony's going to be borrowing money from Microsoft. As funny as that would be, right? That would give me a good old Chuckly Chuck. All right, Jeff, that's it for Super Chats for now. I'm sure we'll get more in and we will read them, but we have questions from the community.
Yes, we do. And I did the thing. So I have the community doc, and I have it set. You have to kind of like sign into your Google account to send in a thing, and it lets you only do one a week now. And I thought I hit the delete thing to make sure that no one else, or that you could send in the questions again. But I'm looking at it, and it looks like no one who asked a question this week asked one this week. So I think that just didn't work. And I will, I'll try to fix that. And it'll definitely be fixed for next week. So sorry about that, everybody. But I do have some questions here. Screaming Madden, man, it's been too long since I've asked questions on GamesBeat. Not that long ago, I watched every season of The Sopranos and loved it. I wonder if there was a Sopranos game, but I learned there was one in 2006, and it's apparently very bad. If you guys could get any developer to make a modern game adaptation of The Sopranos, who would it be? And if you haven't watched, if you ever watched it, like, pick a show.
Guy.
Oh, that's right.
Know.
Yeah.
You know me. I'm Sunshine and Rainbows, and how that mafia stuff's depressing. The only thing I ever saw from Sopranos was some like thing was doing like top 10 most disturbing moments in like television history. It was just like that poor woman being driven where that guy's gonna whack her, and it made me very uncomfortable. So
yeah,
I'm like,
that scene was very hard to watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if I was gonna pick a studio, I don't know, like maybe High Noon, now that they're at Microsoft, or High Noon, is that the name of the studio? The one that made the Transformers game. I think that's the name of the studio. They've done some stuff in the past. I think they did, one of them did like the Bourne Identity game. I think that was them. Or maybe like Treyarch. Like Treyarch was doing some weird stuff before they got sucked into Call of Duty.
Like how they made that weird Quantum of Solace game, right?
Yeah.
That was Treyarch. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like give them a chance.
I say
to, like,
weird.
really
It was like a very normal video game, but it's like it was weird at that point that we still had like a licensed James Bond, like a video game. It's like, here's a video game based on a big movie coming out, because that was already not becoming a thing anymore.
Yeah, so thank you. VJ Incoming corrects me. It's High Moon, not High Noon. So yeah,
it's High Noon. That's what Jesse McCreese say, whatever his name is now. I forget.
Cowboy McCowboyston.
Cowboy McCowboyer.
Cowboy Stain.
Mr. Xbox.
Dr. Cowboy. Crangus McBasketball says, "Hey Jeff and Mike, here is one of what is likely endless Activision Blizzard questions. Do you think they may consider bundling World of Warcraft subscriptions into Game Pass, like say another $5 a month just to throw the number at the wall?" Yeah, I definitely think so. I think Mike thinks so as well.
Absolutely, because like there's a lot of other ways that people can spend money in World of Warcraft these days, anyways. So they probably do just want players in there. And plus, they would still have to pay for things. Maybe in Game Pass you wouldn't have to pay for the expansions anymore. So that's a big question. Now I'm like almost talking myself out of it. It is such a source of revenue, but I don't know. Maybe it's just about getting more players in there.
I mean,
I still think it's going to happen.
It's a source of revenue, but it's like, I think it would be something that convinces a lot of people to go for Game Pass.
A lot of people to get Game Pass. You're right. That's the other way to look at it, and maybe the way that makes more sense. You're probably right. Yeah, it'll probably. I think your Game Pass subscription will eventually get you a World of Warcraft subscription.
Cran just says, also just a general statement. I know this was likely something the execs wanted, but I feel better about potentially playing the next World of Warcraft expansion, at least casually, than I did before any changes happened.
I do too. Like, it's kind of silly and all that stuff, but yeah, like I absolutely do. I'll maybe allow myself to even get like slightly excited when they announce that new expansion or whatever, right? So yeah, like that alone is maybe going to help Activision Blizzard a lot. I think that sentiment is going to be shared by quite a few.
I don't approve of the naming scheme that Benji Bop has chosen here, but I'm going to read it. Happy Friday, Jeff Grubb, the GamesBeat Slug, and Mike Minotti, the GamesBeat Hottie.
Here we go. Apparently, Greg Miller is now my #1 fan. I'm into it.
Yeah, wait till I tell you that you love Lord of the Rings. Wait till I'm holding that over your head.
I'm nervous about him finding out that I love Lord of the Rings, but don't tell him.
For the sake of time, I'll try to go rapid fire here. Feel free to expand if you haven't talked about a particular question yet. These are all related to the Xbox purchase earlier this week. Does Game Pass raise their prices once this goes through? Feels like we've hit a tipping point for too much value. Would you agree PC players are getting more out of this than console? Also, would it be safe to assume a WoW subscription comes into PC Game Pass? Let's take these one at a time. So, what do you think about a price increase, Mike?
Maybe not right away, but maybe not too long afterwards.
Yeah, I think like we are getting. Hang on, my Amazon Fire phone is ringing, which is just the weirdest thing in the world.
Is it your DoorDash?
No, it's because it's my Amazon Fire phone. And
is it that weird one that like they sent you to test out and they never turned off the number?
Yes, they sent it in 8 years. They never turned off the SIM card, so it still has an active like data connection.
What do you use it for?
I don't use it. I just plugged it in to see if it still worked.
Plugged in? I
wanted to see if it was still active. I'm going to use it now to do crimes, obviously.
Are you going to tweet more about bringing bombs on the airplanes, you fucking idiot?
That was a math joke. That was a math tweet.
You gave me an anxiety attack. I was like, Jeff, you have to delete that tweet. It
was a joke about probability and statistics, and most people got it. Actually, no one got it.
No, everybody was like, Jeff, you're going to jail.
I'm like, chill out, everybody, even though everybody is completely right. Does Game Pass raise their prices once this goes through? I mean, with inflation happening, I think it's more likely that it'll happen in the next year or so, even kind of like around the time it goes through, maybe even a little bit before, but it won't be a lot. And also, they don't need to raise it a ton because unlike Netflix and a lot of other subscription things in movies and TV and music, they get money from selling these things in stores still. That's still a huge part of the industry. They still make more money from selling these games in stores than they do from Game Pass. And they also get like microtransactions and DLC. So there's other revenue sources that they have than what something like Netflix has. But that doesn't mean they won't raise the price. That probably will happen pretty soon. Let's see. Would you agree PC players are getting more out of this than the console players?
Well, sure, they don't have to worry about missing out on any games, really, because like, all the Xbox stuff gets put on PC day one. More stuff will probably be available on Steam if you care about that. And you're starting to get all the PlayStation games anyways. Not right away, but they're showing up there. So, yeah, I mean, if you're someone who really just cares about being able to play the most games, you should have a PC with decked out internals as much as you can these days.
Which is more likely to die and get absorbed by the other, Battle.net or Xbox app?
I guess Battle.net's more. No one calls it Battle.net, by the way. Everyone calls it Battle.net. Jeff.
Yeah, I call it Battle.net.
I guess Battle.net is more likely to disappear, but I think it's going to continue. I think it still has value in terms of just being a portal for Blizzard games. There's so much built in there in terms of shop and even like news. It does a good job of letting people who maybe don't find out other ways information about those games. So I don't think Battle.net's going anywhere. I mean, Xbox app's not going anywhere. There's no way they're gonna like put all the Xbox up like, just use Battle.net now. That's not happening. But yeah, Battle.net's gonna stay around.
Yeah,
now you're doing a poll. You don't believe me?
No, I do believe you. I just want to see if there's like at least like 25% out there that can be like, hey, we're the cool kids.
You'll get 25% just from the people who like seeing me be mad.
No, don't stop that. You always ruin these polls.
Well, I'm not ruining it. Our listeners do. I'm just calling them out on it.
Oh my God.
Like, they're why we can't have nice things. Look, I won't get mad, so don't even bother. I'm not going to be upset.
He's so mad. You're so mad.
No, I'm great. I feel super happy. That's why I'm fidgeting with expired Amazon gift cards. I'm just super happy.
Is this the last Xbox acquisition of this magnitude? I mean, it's hard to imagine one being bigger than this.
I mean, what's left that would be of this magnitude? Like, I guess EA, like Take-Two, so like, and like even Ubisoft wouldn't be of this magnitude. Like maybe in the hearts and minds of gamers, it would be similar, but not really. Like, but those are like the three, right? I guess that people are saying like, is Microsoft going to buy EA, Take-Two, or Ubisoft?
Mm-hmm.
Like, even like the Square Enixes and the Capcoms and Konamis, that's a different level.
Take-Two. Did you say Take-Two?
I said Take-Two.
Okay, yeah.
EA and Take-Two are the big ones I think of.
I think so, yeah. But I mean, I don't
come on, like that. Then I think we act, and even the government's maybe going to start looking at it and be like,
right, because right now they're like, even with this, they're not the number one biggest gaming company in the world. They're like number 3, like behind Tencent, and I think still behind maybe even Sony. I'm not exactly sure. But it's like, yeah, if they go and become number 1 with an acquisition, and it's like a huge distance between them and like number 2, even like number 2 is Tencent, that would be like, okay, the government probably would look at that point. We answered his other question, so I'm gonna skip that. But he does say, P.S. Jeff, I'll do the Diablo sandwich challenge with you in solidarity. Thanks as always. Have a nice, relaxing weekend, and play Death's Door now on Game Pass. Thank you, Benchy Pop.
I'm like letting Death's Door get to me now. I like saw some random video that was just titled "Better Than Nintendo Death's Door." I was like, oh my God, I'm getting furious.
Okay, here we go. This is from the community. PlayStation will never be better than the almighty. Okay, so this is like the opposite. So PlayStation will never be better than the almighty Xbox, led by the Chad Phil Spencer. That's their name. Hello, Jeff, Corporate Show Grubb, and Mike, PlayStation fanboy Minotti. How much did Jim Ryan pay you guys to shill PlayStation after the Super Megaton acquisition news dropped? Can't believe you two would stoop so low as to take Ryan's riches and Cerny's cash to promote a dying brand. Hashtag PlayStation is not my console. So, Mike, how rich are you now?
Wait, when did we say nice about PlayStation? I mean, we've been talking about the news. We've been talking about how PlayStation might respond. Did we? I don't remember ever being like, actually, fuck Microsoft. PlayStation is stronger than ever. I thought we said they're probably scared. Yeah, they're probably not happy. This is a good news for them. I don't know. I can't tell if this was a joke or not.
Yeah, I can't tell either. But what? I'm gonna assume it is, because it's someone who subscribes to us each month.
Yeah, it's probably a joke.
Giggy, with all the recent news of acquisitions, here's a thought. Who do you think will make a play at the Pokemon Company? Yeah, like Nintendo owns a third of the Pokemon Company, and the Pokemon Company owns a third of itself, and then like Game Freak and what's the other company that like makes the Pokemon games with them or whatever.
I thought it was just Game Freak. I didn't know it was another one.
Like, there's like it's like in the first Pokemon game, you get like the 2 trademarks at the beginning. It's Game Freak, and then there's another company, but I can't remember. It doesn't matter. I don't know. I think the Nintendo might always think about like acquiring the other 2/3, but I don't know if they see the need to do that anytime soon. So yeah.
I mean, no one else would buy the Pokemon Company, right?
No.
Nintendo would never allow it. They have a third of it. They would get a say. Yeah. I mean, I guess like is that a possibility? Could Sony just be like, well, we're buying Game Freak and the other third? Is that possible?
I don't know. I mean, I think anything's possible. It seems like, Mike, but I don't know. I guess my assumption is Pokemon Company and Nintendo and Game Freak and Creatures Inc., which is the one everyone in chat is helping me out here, which is a Nintendo subsidiary. Says one up versus CPU. Thank you. So all involved will just continue doing business as usual. They're all pretty happy with the way things are going. Nothing's going to change that. Yeah. From Jump Matt, do you think the $70 price point is too big an ask for new IP games like Returnal? I wonder if the higher cost hurts their potential to find an audience and turn into a franchise. I don't know. I think that like
case by case, maybe for Returnal it wasn't a great idea, but
like I think Returnal 2 is going to be just fine. I think Returnal 2 come out at $70, be a little bit bigger. I think it'll be just fine, and at that point, people will be so used to the $70 price tag. $70. Like, yeah, raising the price absolutely has a detrimental effect on finding a bigger audience. Like, that's just very, very basic economics. But I don't know. It's not so much that it's like completely pushing these games away from a chance to build a brand or whatever. And also, it's sold pretty well on a system that it was exclusive to PS5. Like, it sold like there was like 10 million out there, and it sold 500,000 copies there in like its first month. So I think it's probably doing just fine. Visualizer, do you think the rumblings of a unionization effort at ABK had anything to do with Microsoft's decision to purchase them? It seems like this merge was a golden opportunity to halt any momentum for collective action in the tech/gaming industry, which I imagine Microsoft does not want any more than ABK does. I might just be thinking too conspiratorially here, though. Solidarity forever. I mean, Vixen, if that was their goal here, was to like stop the collective bargaining action, they're failing because that stuff's coming together really fast now, and we just reported earlier in this episode.
I can't imagine that was much of a factor in this in a $70 billion deal.
Yep,
maybe it was talked about a little bit, but I don't think it was ever going to sway the opinion one way or the other.
From Havutus, hey guys, what do you think about the current situation on Hitman 3 on Xbox and Steam? The game is currently at mostly negative reviews on Steam because of the pricing, lack of a discount, and weird packaging. The trilogy costs $100 for the standard games, with the add-ons costing $60, but that doesn't include the Hitman 3 DLC, which are sold separately for an extra $30. Even if you try to buy the game, the store page offers you 6 different packages to buy, making the whole thing really confusing. Anyway, sorry for the long question, but I always thought IO made it kind of confusing with what you are getting with each version each time they release a Hitman game. Keep it up.
They have always made it too confusing, and I think that's the appeal of this. Like, what's on the Game Pass version? What do you get when you get Hitman Trilogy there? Because if you I imagine you don't get the DLC, but if you at least get
I think you don't.
3 is something nice. Yeah, I mean.
This is like not only like this is something they are going to have a hard time avoiding, because you got to remember Square Enix published Hitman 1 and Warner Brothers published Hitman 2, and then IO published Hitman 3 themselves, and they have to like go through this maze with each one of those. It's not like something that was going to be. And like a lot of people get mad there's not a discount. Like, okay, what are they supposed to do there? Like, they have a price that they want to charge. If you're not happy with it, then don't buy it. Wait till it goes on sale, which it will eventually, or go get Game Pass and play it there. Like, I mean, it is confusing and that's frustrating, but also like, I don't know. I would just buy the stuff I want to play and play it. Like, it's not so confusing that you can't figure it out.
I've heard that in like especially like in some specific regions, the pricing is like multiplied in unreasonable ways. It gets and ridiculously expensive in some territories, which we've been hearing more about in general. Yeah, like I hear you, but it's also like just find a way to get a good price on this thing. At this point, just build up equity and love for this brand more so than trying to squeeze out more DLC sales. And even if you couldn't do that, then maybe just wait another year for this, to where you think that, okay, now we can comfortably just sell everybody everything from Hitman 1, 2, and 3 for $70, right? Like that's probably what this should have just been. It should have been easier.
Let's see, from Rumham, have you guys ever played Shinsake Into the Depths? It's a great underwater Metroidvania made by Capcom that really flew under the radar because it's an Apple Arcade port to Switch. I know you both like Metroidvania, so I decided to push this on you instead of Golden Sun this time. Rumham, I have played that game. I have it on my Switch. I didn't play much of it though. I really like the whole idea of it, but it was like, it is underwater and you move. It's like, you remember the underwater parts of Metroid where it's like you're moving slow. It's like an entire game like that. Yeah. Like there's something to it, and I think I like the way it looks. It's worth checking out though, Mike.
Maybe look neat. Yeah.
Yeah. From Gerber, happy birthday to Ivan Putski. I don't know who Ivan Putski is, Mike.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Sorry.
I had a question,
happy birthday nonetheless.
I had a question, but I think you have enough material for this week's show already. Yeah, thank you, Gerber. I appreciate that. Let's see, a few more here. Jay Tench, I know that you, Greg Miller and others have alluded to Microsoft putting Game Pass on PlayStation. My question is, what does Game Pass on PlayStation look like? There's more here, and I'll just say, we've said this entire show, we actually don't really know. That is a confusing question. They aren't going to make a SKU of Halo and Forza that run natively on PS5. I mean, listen, I just do not count that out. Like, why would we count that out? But probably not. So that instantly makes your $10 on PlayStation worth much less than your $10 on Xbox, unless it means game streaming, which I can't imagine hardcore multiplayer folks want to stream Call of Duty to their PS5, nor does Sony want that. They'll want the real game running natively. I mean, there's no reason they couldn't put Call of Duty natively and stream Halo. Like, they could do that. I'm just having a hard time picturing it in my head. Curious to hear your thoughts. Thanks. Listen, you're not wrong that it's a lot to try to figure out and a lot to fit in your head. I think that like there might be the will here to try to figure out the answer to those questions, though. Is all I'm saying.
I see some people trying to bring up cloud gaming again. I don't see that, because then it starts comparing unfavorably to the Xbox Game Pass. You can get on an Xbox platform because, like, you know, sometimes you'll have issues and sometimes you'll have lag and sometimes the quality is going to dip because your connection goes down.
Like,
I don't know.
And like the PlayStation audience is a hardcore audience, right? They're not going to be happy with just streaming.
I mean, right. Look how the Nintendo fans are reacting to those Kingdom Hearts ports right now, and I bet Square Enix is going to have a bit of egg on their face. I mean, I have no idea. That was just stupid of them in the beginning to have to port like what were games that should run fine on Switch on the cloud. I understood it for Kingdom Hearts 3, but it's weird.
Wiener of the Nintendogs, who's gonna go with this? Okay, Jizz Corden said that since game journalists get all their games for free, you don't have to buy games with their own money. Since publishers give you games for free, you could afford to live in ivory towers and look down on us serfs like the fat cats you are, presumably laughing at us while you eat grapes and drive Cadillacs, all the while having no shame or awareness of your bias. What do you think of these sentiments, and how accurate are they?
I mean, I feel bad about piling on to Jez anymore. I thought that it was a pretty stupid tweet. Even with the clarifications, I still don't really understand it, or and I hate saying this, like I'm sure because he's, you know, I hate lumping in with that, but it read like the kind of exact same things that Gamergate people used to say, right? Shouting about biases like it's a word they just learned in third grade vocabulary class. Talking, you know, imagining that all we do is play video games for a job, and getting video games somehow for free is like, again, like maybe that does sound a little arrogant, like it's a big deal. It's nice. That doesn't impact my quality of life very much. So I don't want to pile on Jez anymore here. I don't think he really meant any ill will towards it. He keeps saying that he meant somebody specific with it. I still don't even know who it was targeted for. I don't know a single person that fits the description of what he's talking about. Jeff, you were probably more favorable than most. You were kind of the one talking against the pile on here.
Yeah, I like Jez. It is a bad take, but like I'm like from the perspective of like, you know, I've talked to him before, and like he grew up super poor, and I think he was like putting himself back in those shoes of like, and like not that he works at Future right now, and they don't pay him very well, so it's like even then, let's like. He's still like maybe looking at some other people like thinking like, oh yeah, you get a lot more money to do this than I do, but it still was like it generalized in a way that isn't accurate. Not really, of course not. I don't know. I work nonstop. I work really hard, and I think most people, like, we got a lot of people here in chat, most people recognize that and they're super respectful of that, but there's definitely a sentiment of like, we don't really deserve to have this position where we get to talk about games all day, and that's what we get paid to do. And it's like there's a lot more to it than that. And but also I don't ever want to be in a position where I have to like complain about people, you know, give me a hard time about my job, because I am pretty privileged to have this job. So I'm like, it's like I just kind of look at it from both perspectives. I'm like, can we all just chill out for a second? But it was a dumb tweet. It was a dumb tweet.
That's it. Yeah. Big takeaway. Be careful. You have to be careful what you tweet about. Don't tweet, you know, that bringing bombs onto planes. We all need to be a little bit more careful.
I don't see any issue with the second thing you said there. Pinball RJ. What publisher / developer do you think would be the last to ever get acquired by a larger one?
Nintendo. I mean,
Nintendo. There you go.
Nintendo wouldn't. I can't imagine they would ever sell. They would ever give into a hostile takeover attempt. There's just no way. Almost everybody else now, though, I struggle to think of anybody that I think that's like you know, invincible here.
Right.
Square Enix I could see, Capcom I could see, Konami I could see, EA even, like before Activision Blizzard. No, of course not EA. I could kind of see it. Ubisoft I could see more than EA. Take-Two would probably be the next pretty hard to see one for whatever reason. I don't know why, Jeff, but that's still one.
Yep.
Nothing on Nintendo's level.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're right. I think like if we look around, like I could see a world where all those companies eventually end up under someone else's banner down the road. Let's see. Skitteros, why does EA hate the NBA Jam and the SSX franchises? Yeah, well, what's wrong with them? Like, why don't they get back on their arcade sports stuff? Like, the Arcade Racer came back. Why can't we get the arcade sports game?
I'll say this about NBA Jam. They tried to bring it back before. I think there's a little bit of a you can't go home again quality with NBA Jam.
Yeah, you're right about that one.
You know, if like the most I would really want from that is just like give me an arcade perfect port of like Terminator Edition or something. Like they made like the Wii version and it had like the modern rosters and it was like fun to play. But that's how I kind of felt like, yeah, you kind of can't go home again. Like it's fun, but I'm not going to play it every day or something.
I think NBA Street Volume like 4 could work. Like I would like to see that.
That's the thing. You would have to make a new arcade game. I don't know if you just call it NBA Jam or what have you. But I don't know exactly what you do. I almost think you can't lean too heavily on the NBA Jam aspect. I think you would do like Street and try to do something new with that idea. SSX though, I don't know. That one they probably could just bring back.
I think that they'll wake up and kind of come back around on those eventually. Like we did see more arcade racers last year, and I think people are like, oh yeah, we can have more in this genre than just like one game that is Forza Horizon.
TurboSean, don't get me wrong. He says, no, Jeff, Mike is not right about that NBA Jam still rules. I love NBA Jam. No, I agree with you. I think that I just don't know if just bringing it back is an answer on that one, if that makes sense. Like when I say you can't go home again, I don't mean that you can't have fun with it and it isn't fun, but in terms of it being what it once was or anywhere close to that, like NBA Jam was like the biggest video game in the world at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it was a phenomenon at the time. It's never going to be that again. Creaky Legs, the final question here. Hey guys, do you think with the rumors of Call of Duty potentially switching to a biannual release, or do we think that's accurate? And the acquisition starting, it could possibly skip 2022. Do we think it could skip? I don't think it's going to skip this year. I don't think it will.
I mean, those rumors right now are just really based off of people saying, well, maybe this could happen because anything can happen now. So there's no smoke to that fire, really.
And Activision needs to kind of like still has to do right by its shareholders until this deal is signed. And so I think up until this fall, they're still going to be operating like we need to have Call of Duty this year. And then also, I've heard that this new Modern Warfare 2 or whatever it is coming together pretty nicely. So I think that they're going to be just fine. So, yeah. Okay. That does it for the community questions. Any more super chats, Mike?
We did get more super chats here, so let me read these. The Experience Share asks, when will you both descend from your ivory towers and share some of the totally free games you're hoarding? Really, never. It's way too nice up here. There's just so much ivory. And, ivory, it's like those magic crystals. It just infuses me with pleasure and happiness.
We would joke about this, but like my job is I have a Steam Press account. I have an Epic.
You have a Steam Press account. I don't.
Okay, but I do. And then also like I get sent like GPUs to review, and then I put them on my shelf, and they just sit there because I can't like give them to people for the most part because I need them to continue testing. So I have a 3080 Ti in here that NVIDIA sent me that's like for my work, and like so I do like I feel like I'm in a little bit of an ivory tower a little bit. That's what I feel like. But I know Yeah, whatever. That's just
You
how
also
I
get
feel.
to live in Colorado. That's
Yes,
one of the things
true.
that's helping a lot. And that's, I think, again, I hate it, Jeff, because I too want to like count my blessings, but there are so many people that like
You're right.
that are mad. Like you have a thick skin, and I admire that about you. I do not, so I get defensive, and that's why I did subtweet Jez, and I feel bad about it. I wish I didn't. I wish I was bigger than that.
Yeah,
but
no,
I
but
still subtweeted him.
he understands though. I think
Because it did get under my skin still, because we do get so much, hate, and we get so many people who just, act like, everything's perfect here, even though, yeah, I don't feel like I definitely am not on the poverty line or anything, and I'm doing pretty well. It's probably helped the fact that I don't have a family and that I live in Ohio. But I can understand, especially some of these older people who, didn't have a support system like maybe we had, who had to move out to freaking San Francisco and start making $30 a year. I can understand where that would be a very sensitive subject to bring up, the idea that game journalists are somehow, privileged in some way.
Yes, I agree with that 100%.
All right, next one here. Radu Perico Tagana says, how long till we see digs at Bobby Kotick and Activision Blizzard King Games? Man, that's going to be pretty funny, huh? That could happen. I wonder if they'd be afraid. I wonder if they would still fear his loyalty or anything like that. But yeah, maybe we'll start seeing, like, maybe there'll be a boss, like a monster in Diablo 4 that's just called like the Kotick King or something like that, like the Clot, like Bobby Clot or something like that. Roderick Clot, and he's just this fat, disgusting, gross, like Akira monster or something like that. I don't know. Stephen McIntosh, how worried will Ubisoft be because of this purchase? Apparently everyone's freaking out a bit. I wonder about their position on things. There's like when we were talking about market caps, and I know market cap's not the whole story, I was kind of surprised how relatively low theirs is compared to some other people's. But look, their whole thing, they're pivoting their strategy right now anyways. Their whole thing right now is turning all of their games into kind of live service things. So much of their future is going to depend on Assassin's Creed Infinity and what that looks like, and how well that does. So that's kind of what I want to see and how that works out, and then maybe we'll understand Ubisoft's future then. Do you have any thoughts on Ubisoft, Jeff?
Yeah, I think that you're right that they're probably freaking out a little bit. I think they're like, they have their Ubisoft subscription stuff, and it's kind of hard to see the value in that compared to something like Game Pass. And it seems like it's hard to see a path forward for them to sort of beef up that value. I think they know that, and I think that's why their focus is so much on service games and turning Assassin's Creed into a service and make each thing its own service so it brings in its own revenue. But I don't know. They have their own problems of like just making sure that their games are good and that they can succeed because like if any one game sort of fails or flounders, they overreact in a big way, because it seems like if anything doesn't hit, they're in a pretty tough situation. So I don't know.
They're kind of like in a bit of that Call of Duty situation. Yeah, they're getting there.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they're going to just like focus on what they can control and probably not pay too much attention to this one.
Supernova says, in 2021, we have been asking you about the Kojima project with Microsoft. Is cooperation done? Did Kojima send Psycho Mantis to acquire Phil Spencer?
No, I mean, that deal's still going to go through, I think. So I think there's a good chance it might have already like been finalized at this point, but they're not just going to announce it the second it's done. They'll wait until they have a big stage to do it. So maybe E3, maybe the Game Awards later this year. It's going to be a while before we see the fruits of this deal in terms of any sort of game actually happening, even a trailer, beyond like, a CGI asset or something. So they can announce it any time in the next couple of years, honestly.
Tech Money says, do you think Microsoft waits until the Republicans are back in the White House before they buy another publisher? Jeff, do you think that factors maybe into thinking here?
It's not like the Democrats are all like the Democrats posture about this stuff a little bit, but they are not
pretty
really
toothless, as they are about a lot of things. It turns out. Yeah. So and maybe because maybe like the next one is the one where it's like, oh wow, they're really buying up a bunch of stuff. But if they wait like a year or two, Embracer's going to keep getting bigger. A bunch of other companies are going to keep getting bigger. They'll be able to point to other stuff as like examples of like them not still not owning most of the industry. And if Steam's out there, I think kind of as long as Steam is out there, I think they're pretty
set in terms of like saying there's a major competitor out here that we have no control over, and so obviously we can't be a monopoly. But yeah, maybe I'm sure that's something they consider. But trust me, they spend a lot of lobbying money on Democrats as well, and in the Democratic Party, that's actually super important. It's like super depressing if you're someone who cares about any of this stuff. It definitely depresses me. But the Democrats get a lot of lobbying money. That's what they really care about, and so it's really not going to be an issue for Microsoft.
Jedi Moss 4 says, would buying Square Enix really be a win for Sony when they already get most of Square's games as exclusives? I mean, Jeff, you said this too, but I guess I would push back against this a bit.
Please.
They got Final Fantasy like 7 remake. They're going to get Final Fantasy 16, but I mean, Kingdom Hearts games were still on Xbox and Nintendo. Dragon Quest games are still put on Nintendo, and I think Dragon Quest Builders was also on Xbox. And then there's like Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy. A lot of this stuff, Tomb Raider still shows up on Xbox, so it would still mean something. But I think more than anything, it is probably going to be about sending a bit of a message, especially to the stockholders who are freaking out. Like, no, look, we'll acquire somebody too. We are also growing, and look at all the IP that we now own. We straight up own Final Fantasy. We own Tomb Raider and things like that. So I don't know. That's my thinking on that.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. I think you're right.
Nintendo Bro says, thanks for the show. Here's lunch on me to help keep your ivory towers from crumbling. Will we be seeing either of you on the kart tracks tomorrow? You guys do that like Saturday morning. Mikey sleeps in on Saturday pretty hardcore.
The thing is like anytime during the day, if you get someone else to come play with you, you could do it anytime during the day because it's a 20. I think he does it for 24 hours. I'll also talk to Turbo Sean. But also, we know that you're a coward and you're afraid to lose in Mario Kart because you're not very good at it.
I'll tell you what, maybe I'm not very good. Mario Kart's not. I don't dislike Mario Kart. I like Mario Kart. It's not super my thing.
The excuses begin.
Wow. I'm just saying.
I'm trying to bait you into coming to play. So yeah.
Well, Monday we're going to be doing another community games night with Halo Infinite once again.
Right.
So that'll be happening on Monday. We'll be starting at 9 p.m. Eastern this time to give some of the West Coast people maybe a bit more of a chance to jump in there. So that'll be Jeff, I completed my what's the battle pass yesterday. Isn't that exciting?
Oh, you did? Oh wow, that's awesome. So
I bought
how many
the
hours?
One.
Okay, that's right. We did. We both bought the boosted one.
What is my hour count? Let's see. 70-ish. And I think I played a little bit on the Xbox app here and there, but probably not much. So we'll say about 70-ish.
Okay, yeah.
Turbo Sean literally says, Mike, want to mention our upcoming Halo night? Turbo Sean, I did it on my own without even reading
that's why you were doing it.
No,
I assumed you read that because he definitely said that before you mentioned anything. Okay, fun.
That's fine. I'm looking at the stream elements thing here. I'm not looking at chat so much. One more here for now. Danny Mitchell says, imagine you have some extra money at their ARBY'S expenses. Sega is at $4 a share. Do you buy? Do you buy Square? Who's the most valuable? So who's more valuable here, Square or Sega? Let's put aside the stuff where maybe Square Enix makes more sense with the PlayStation brand. That's interesting. The problem with Sega is I don't think they have as many talented or at least AAA ready studios right now. Like this is the company that still has Sonic Team making like their Sonic.
Yeah, but they have they already have Persona on PlayStation. But I mean, they have Atlas and they have
Atlas is good and
RGT or whatever it is, the team, the RGY, whatever that studio is that does Yakuza.
Yeah, the Yakuza team and the Persona team would probably be your biggest gets there. My issue with Sega more so than Square Enix is that they have so many good IPs that they have just absolutely let flounder to the point where it's almost like, man, is there value in that anymore? There's a lot of Hexen type things there. Like, yeah, they can make a new Shinobi. Make a new Echo the Dolphin, right? So if you're interested just in having a big catalog of IP, Sega might actually make more sense. But in the here and now, I think I would get Square Enix. I would see a lot more value in that. There's a lot of people who still, Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest are still all very big deals. I think you could reboot Tomb Raider again and get people very excited about that very easily. So I think I would still go with Square Enix on that one. What about you, Jeff?
Well, I mean, Final Fantasy 14 is like the kind of thing that could justify a big taking a lot of debt, right? Because it is something that's going to consistently bring in money predictably for many years to come. And so you could say with that alone, we could pay the interest on this. Everything else is kind of icing, and we will find ways to leverage all this IP to a much greater deal than Square Enix did by itself. So I still think Square Enix makes more sense, but maybe Sega's cheap enough that it's like, well, we have to go with the bargain because that's what we can afford. Maybe that's possible. I don't know. I would probably, if I were them, I would probably still choose Square Enix because of Final Fantasy 14 specifically.
I want to bring this up because I saw other people talking about this this week. Kenneth asked, "Is Bayonetta Sega?" Bayonetta is not Sega. Bayonetta 1 was published by Sega,
Right.
but it's a Nintendo thing now, so that wouldn't be part of Sega.
I have to look up the studio that makes Yakuza because I'm getting owned in chat for saying it was RGT. It's RGG. I was close. Ryuga Gotoku. Whatever.
I would never remember. So good on you for even being close, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you.
I
Thank you,
admire
Mike.
you.
You're much nicer to me than chat.
That's true. Jay Arthur just sent a super chat asking or saying people forget that Sega and Square Enix do more than games. What else does Sega do? Because their arcade business is mostly done now, right?
I mean, they do like they do attractions, right? They don't do the they don't run physical arcades, but they still make attraction arcade machines and probably gambling machines and stuff. I don't fucking know.
I mean, that's
anymore.
like it's the stuff that Konami went all in on.
Right.
That's why Konami's market cap surprised me when I saw it. Like, oh, it's still that. I mean, I guess there was money to be made there. What else does Square Enix do? Similar things?
I don't know.
Are there Square Enix gyms or something?
I don't know.
But I mean, you absorb that stuff too, and you either get rid of it or you run it as subsidiary.
Yeah, I mean, Sony does a lot of other things as well. It's like Sony like sells insurance to Japan and makes a ton of money from that. So, like, yeah, they can figure that out.
Wixb asks, would Call of Duty fans currently on PlayStation 4 now be more likely to switch even before the acquisition is through? This announcement may already be a win for Xbox. So let's say you have PlayStation 4 and you mostly play Call of Duty on it, and at some point you need to upgrade.
Yeah, you just go to Xbox.
You just go Xbox now, huh?
I think so, because it's like
both of them are hard to find anyways. But
right, yeah, because like I think in that situation you're like, well, I just want to have certainty, and the one certain thing is if you have an Xbox, you're going to have Call of Duty. You know that right now. So, I mean, I think a lot of people will do that. Not enough to like really fully move the needle. But it'll direct some people in that direction, and then down the line, if it does go exclusive, then of course that's when the big move happens.
Turbo Sean clarified: Square Enix has a toy company and a record label. Is that Play Arts? They make nice stuff, and is the record label just the one that releases the CDs for their own stuff, or they do other things? I mean, again,
that stuff can integrate into Sony very easily.
Sony has a bit of a music thing going on too, so
right.
that would be easy. Toy company, yeah, sure, we'll take your toy company on. Print some more statues of Cloud that we'll charge for $80. Be great. Jeff, I think we are finally caught up on the super chats here.
Yeah, excellent. I just let everyone know I have updated the community question thing. So if you want to send yours in for next week, you can start doing that right now.
What about Game of the Year? I almost forgot.
Oh yeah, I forgot too. let me get that up. In the meantime, I'm ending this poll, Mike. Why don't you give people the results of that? Let's see here.
Yeah, well, I mean, BattleNet won 67%, so about 2/3 said BattleNet. Only 1/3 was with you on Battle.net. I think those are just other people like you who don't actually even play Blizzard games, and you're just saying, well, to me it feels like Battle.net.
Yeah, in my heart it feels like Battle.net. I mean,
your heart's wrong.
Yeah, stupid fucking heart. All right, let's see here. Game of the Year finals. Do I have this somewhere? Where is that? Community, Game Mass Community. Yes, okay, there it is.
We got so excited. We got distracted by other things. I can't believe we weren't ready on this.
Yeah, let me okay, so if everyone wants to vote, if you haven't voted yet, you have like 1 more minute while I get the stuff ready to go and the overlay here. Let me go to studio mode so Mike can't see it, and then I'm going to bring up 2021 is where it is, right? Okay.
Jeff, my Final Fantasy 14 static, we killed the second Savage boss last night.
Oh, good for you.
It's very exciting. We took us,
I'm very proud of you.
We usually wait for 2 hours. We extended it a bit so we can try to kill him. And on the last attempt, so like you have to do all the mechanics, but there's also a bit of a time limit, like 15 minutes in, or maybe I forget, something beyond 10 minutes into the fight, where he just casts a spell, and if the spell goes off, then you just all die. And we literally killed him. There was probably 1/10 of a second left, Jeff. My poor heart couldn't take it. I was freaking out. It was exciting. Oh my God, this hardcore rating. I want you to see at some point, just so you could see what I'm doing. I wonder if you'd be impressed or disgusted.
Yeah, probably a little bit of both. Probably a bit of both. Okay, so we've gone from like 97 responses to 115 here, real fast. 114.
Okay.
Okay, so I think I'm probably going to turn it off here in a second. But Mike, let's just recap so far. The game of the year is between Halo Infinite and Psychonauts 2. We have a number 3, so the bronze position between Metroid Dread and Forza Horizon 5. I guess we could start there. Let me see if I can figure out a way to
I
jump.
imagine Metroid wins that. It was a bit of an upset. Well, not really, because Halo gained so much momentum. But I thought Metroid could have taken the whole thing. I bet Metroid would actually probably have a stronger showing against Halo than Psychonauts is about to have. Maybe I'm wrong there.
Okay, yeah. So let's go with that one. Number 3, between Metroid Dread, Forza Horizon 5, it is a 52% to 48% split. So pretty 52%, close.
Really closer than I would have imagined.
It's actually closing as I talk. So it's like, okay, no, it just jumped back up. So okay, it's like within like 5-6 votes. So I'm gonna have to shut this down so it doesn't like change here in the last second. So everybody, you're gonna have like 20 seconds because I'm gonna go to 30 seconds from now. And then we had the whole like bracket up. So if people want to see what happened there was I'm just gonna bring up challenge. No, I'm not gonna do that. But like we started with I think 32 games and now we're down to this. So how surprised are you that Metroid Dread didn't beat Halo Infinite in that last round, or is it not surprising?
Like I said, I think Halo was getting some momentum. I'm not too surprised there, especially it was after our community game that we were obviously having so much fun with it. Yeah, I wasn't too shocked anymore. All
right, I have turned off accepting responses. I'm gonna bring it down here. Let's see. Number 3, Michael said he thought Metroid Prime or Metroid Dread was gonna win, and he is correct. Metroid Dread with 51.9%, 68 votes versus 63 for Forza Horizon 5.
I'm pretty surprised it was actually that close. I'll be honest.
I think Forza Horizon 5 just has a lot of huge fans right now.
Yeah, I mean, I was not a dig against Forza. I just thought that we had a lot of Metroid Dread.
I agree with you, but that's how it shook out in the end, anyhow. So then Halo Infinite versus Psychonauts 2.
That's Halo Infinite. I think Halo Infinite at least 60%. If it was 70%, I wouldn't be shocked actually.
It's not 60%. It is below that. It's
below that. Wow.
54.9% to 45.1%. 73 votes to 60 votes. So 13 vote gap. So still pretty wide. For how many votes we got.
Infinite.
It is Halo Infinite.
That's a more respectable showing for Psychonauts 2 than I would have imagined. They must be feeling pretty good that Psychonauts 2 came out and actually delivered over at Double Fine, because there's so many of those things could not, right?
Mm-hmm.
So good on them.
And so yeah, Halo Infinite is our GamesBeat our GamesBeat / Game Mess Community Game of the Year winner. There we go. Number 2, Psychonauts 2.
It's also our editorial Game of the Year. So how about that?
Yes, consensus among the people. Metroid Dread number 3, Forza Horizon 5 number 4. So
pretty good 4 games there.
And I had a lot of fun doing that, people. So I'm glad we all came up. Maybe we could come up and do a game of the generation or something and do it that same format here. Sure. Coming up in the next few weeks.
Russian Clank was still robbed, but that's okay.
Let's see. I think we got a few more super chats in, Mike. If you want to do that, we did
get a few more thingies in here. Gosh, I thought we got more. Yeah. So Magnum Visual says, if Game Pass doubles in price, how would that benefit people who play Call of Duty all day? If in 2 months they would have paid the full price of the game? Well, you would get more than just Call of Duty.
Also, it's not going to double in price. There's no way it doubles in price. It's
probably not going to double in price. But also, if it did, and if you didn't think it was worth it, you would still be able to just buy Call of Duty. You wouldn't have to get Game Pass.
Right. And yeah, I mean, and if they get rid of Xbox Live Gold because of this, then you are benefiting still. So I don't know. They're not going to double the price, though. That's just not going to happen. Maybe at most they raise it $5. That's they're what? That's a 50% increase. Even that I think is kind of probably not going to happen. It's going to be like $1 or $2. Okay, and then there's another super chat. Are we good?
I think that's it, Jeff.
Okay. Mike, you been playing anything?
It's just Final Fantasy. I was talking about that, and yeah, just every day still. I'm a hardcore raider. I'm very proud of myself. I'm very cool, and I am very strong. But then I've been playing so much of the Analog Pocket. I've been having fun just kind of actually not just playing something for a bit, oh, this is neat, but actually playing through games like I did with Donkey Kong 94. Then Wario Land 3, which surprised me of how good it was, and now playing through Mario and Luigi. Having, a ton of fun with that. I think I'll try Windjammers 2 at some point this weekend, though, and see what that's, all about.
Yeah, we should play some Windjammers too. I think the online might be a little bit broken, but I was playing a little bit of it as well. It's on Game Pass, so we definitely play it there. I have it on PC, on Steam as well, though. Wherever you want to play it. I think it's cross-play, so we can make that happen. But Mike, I've realized that my Arby's is sitting out on my porch. So
yeah, you ordered it 2 hours ago, so I'm sure it's here.
Well, I actually did not hit the pay button until we were halfway through, but it is there now. So
didn't you tell your daughter that it was her very important job to know when the door rang?
You know, she says it hasn't, and I actually trust her because a lot of times they don't ring the doorbell, even though the instructions just say leave it there, ring the doorbell.
Maybe she's too worried thinking about that dead bird.
Mike, I don't know what you have to do, just give my children nightmares, but I'm glad you're here to do it.
Oh, we got another super chat from.
All right, let's do it, and then we'll wrap up.
Chested Bandit. What are the chances Square Enix ever revisits the Ogre series? Would a release collection or them showing up on Switch Virtual Console be likely? I wish they would port some of those games. That'd be super neat. You could download some of them on Vita. There was one I always meant to download on Vita. It just never got around to, and I mean to. In terms of like making a new entry in the Ogre series, I don't think they would do that before just making another Final Fantasy Tactics, unfortunately.
I agree. Mike, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at Tolkoto, Tolkoto. Check out my 90s Disney podcast, 90s Disney, at 90sdisney.com. We will be back on Tuesday with the last of the Nintendogs. Jeff.
Yeah, we had a lot. Like Mike said earlier, we had a lot of people watching that show. So if
I'll be watching this show. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you everybody. You show up if you're here every week. We really appreciate it. If this is your first time, we really appreciate it. Definitely check out the podcast subscription if you want to do that. Hit the subscribe button here if you want to get the notifications whenever we go live, which is always on Tuesdays, always on Fridays, and a few other times during the week whenever there's something special going on.
George Foreman. He almost had like a sugar rush there with all of this Xbox.
Yes, he did.
I was like, Sean had to like calm down, George. He's like, Sony's gonna bend the knee. I was like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
relax.
Yeah, like an 8-year-old snorting pixie sticks. Yeah, absolutely.
I love you, Georgie, but
bring it back. Yeah, he got timed out a few times there. I'm like, hey man, that's how it goes. That's how it goes.
I thought we finally won him over. I hope he doesn't hate us now.
I mean, he came back. It was still the same exact way. So, like, George, you do George.
You do your thing. We'll do ours.
Yeah, I'm gonna be playing some Dying Light 2 here pretty soon. I'm excited about that.
Dying Light 2. Oh, you know, there's a game that I think I'm supposed to be getting a code for today that I'm excited about. Actually, I have to look.
That'll be like it'd be like nice to like have stuff to do over the weekend. So I'm like, I'm set. But I will be looking at Windjammers and a few other things. So there's a lot of good games coming to Game Pass. I'm like, I want to make time for that Hitman trilogy, even though it seems like a hot mess right now for people trying to buy the game. But I already have it, so I'm gonna enjoy it. You got any other plans this week, Mike?
My dad's birthday is actually it's today, but I think the party's tomorrow. I should call him today anyways. It's a good thing I remember. Just looked at that and realized that. All right, so we're having a party tomorrow with him. That'll be fun.
Cool. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you next time. Until then, take it easy and goodbye.
Bye.